We're live.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Get Creative. Jeremy Davis is going to be our guest tonight, and he is messing around in the studio. We're getting ready. We're going to interview Jeremy Davis and his journey from getting 0 deals to doing all the deals, and then talking about his current issues in his business. So we're going to talk about the whole entire story arc as this man tries to figure out why didn't he just buy a Mac. You know what I'm saying?
No. Okay, so real quick.
Hold on. No. Just figure out your thing. You can talk crap when you get up here. Guys, tell us where you're at and where you're, what part of the business you are in. Okay, Chino, I know where you're at. Chino's in Vegas. He's wholesaling. He's doing creative finance deals. Guys, in the side chat, tell everybody that you're a sub-2 student. You can help them out with this, that, or the other. Let's use the first 5 minutes of Jeremy floundering around as a way
super floundering
to hang out with each other and get to know each other. I never showed late to get creative, and Jeremy made me 2 minutes late today, guys. So I apologize for that.
Okay, say something. Does that sound better?
Yeah, guys, does this sound way better now?
So much better.
There we go. Awesome. All right, we are back.
All right, so there's that.
Amazing.
Good?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Wow, we should have done this way earlier, dog.
There I am. All right. And
boom, there we go. We got it.
Mic check. Good check.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Jeremy Davis out of Davis County, Utah. No, it's not. It's
Salt Lake County.
Salt Lake County. And as you guys can see, I have a wiener in my lap. This dog's name is
Gilly.
I hung out with her last 4th of July. I get to hang out with her again 2 4th of Julys in a row. In the studio, we have our studio mechanic technician. Her name is Katie, and our backup support system is Carly Grundman. So Carly, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. Carly, let's talk about the upcoming Elephant Challenge for next month.
Let's do it.
What dates did we commit to?
Oh, you just sent me an email this morning, and I have to go look at it. I think it was the 5th, 6th, and 7th of August.
Okay, we're on. Me and you are just on it today, aren't we?
We are on it. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay,
August 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Okay, August 3rd, 4th, and 5th, guys. We're gonna do 2 elephant challenges in August. Okay. The first one's gonna be the first week. Second one is gonna be in the last week of August, and the first one that we're gonna do this coming month is going to be agent outreach. I actually have Jerry Norton coming to join us for that challenge. It's going to be a blast. First time having a co-host with me in the Elephant Challenge. I have a lot of the Elephant Challenge leaders, but we got Jerry Norton is going to help us out. And then we're going to do business buying. You want to hear a great story before we entered into the Jeremy Davis story?
You're talking to me?
Yeah,
I'm going to hear you a great story.
I want to hear a good story.
All right, so check this out. So I fall in love probably 10 years ago with this very specific brand of beef jerky.
Okay. Are you going to drop the name? Not yet?
I cannot drop the name, and I'll tell you why I can't drop the name in a minute. I fall in love with it. I buy it online because I can't get it in Arizona. I can only get it in Utah. So every time I come to Utah 3-4 times a year, I stock up $300-$400 of this beef jerky. Like legit. Okay. It's so good. You look at it. It's one of those things when you eat it, you look at the person that gave it to you and like, oh my God, your face is like, wow, this is unbelievable.
Okay.
It makes Jack Links and all these other things look like and taste like trash.
Jack Links is even in the same category?
It's not even in the same category. Okay. I walk into a gas station and they all have a Jack Links. I go, do you guys have beef jerky? They're like, no, we don't. I'm like, that's what I thought. So I travel up here and I noticed this last go round. This is 10 years of me doing this, by the way. 10 years of me doing this. And the reason why I hit on the 10 years so hard is because there's a learning lesson here for me and for other people. When you drove down the road 5 years ago, Jeremy, and you just saw houses, did you see houses differently than you currently see them now?
Absolutely.
You see them in a way where you're like, oh, there's a lot of opportunity there. Maybe there's distress. Maybe I could rent that out. There's an Airbnb. That'd be a great spot for a midterm rental or a pad split or whatever. You just look at everything differently, right? You also look at children differently. Wow, that's a lot of work. right? You realize now when you have a child, you realize how much more work there is. Is that right, Carly?
Oh my God, that's so true.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have all that, you kind of shed a tear every time you see a mom with 2 kids or more, you like shed a tear for them, type of thing. So now I love this beef jerky, and I look at it as beef jerky, beef jerky, beef jerky, beef jerky every time I come up to Utah. So this morning, I go, oh crap, we're about to leave Utah. So what do I got to do? I got to go to stock up. However, the place I usually buy it doesn't have it. And I'm like, oh no, please tell me this company did not go out of business. It's a Utah only business.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So I go online, their website's broken.
Okay, that's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. It's a horrible sign. And I then go to their Facebook group, and there's a phone number there.
Okay.
So I called the phone number this morning. This happened this morning, by the way.
Deep prospecting, right?
This is deep prospect. I didn't even have to skip trace, y'all. Okay. And I call the number, and a guy answers it. Hello? I'm like, is this such and such beef jerky company? He's like, oh yeah, that's me. What? I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to buy some meat, bro. Just want to buy some meat today. Where can I buy it? And he's like, oh yeah, this gas station, or this gas station. Where are you? I'm like, there's better ways to tell your customers how to find your beef jerky than having them have to call the owner of the company. Up until this phone call, I thought this beef jerky company was this magnificent, humongous company.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's like Jack Links. They got promo things, and they're sponsoring the Spartan races, and they're doing all the things. They got trucks that have their names on it. And then I can't even get a hold of somebody other than the owner on a Sunday afternoon. So he tells me, here's where I go. Okay. Here's what I do. And he says, did you find the place? I go, yeah. Why are you not nationwide? Is what I say to him via text. Now I'm texting the owner of this company.
Okay.
He goes, oh, I'm semi-retired. I go, why don't you just get a partner and have them take it nationwide? He goes, I'd be open to selling it. I go, nothing down? He goes, yeah, I'd do nothing down. I'll stay in the business for 20. This is literally, I'm not exaggerating how short these text messages were. I go, would you do it for nothing down? He goes, yeah, I'd do nothing down. But I'd have to stay in the business for 2 years so I could help you get through the blah, blah, blah. I go, okay, when can we meet? He goes, tomorrow. Let's meet up at.
When can we meet?
No.
When can we meet? MEAT. In fact, we might change the name of the company to When Can We Meet? So I'm meeting him tomorrow to sign a 0 down, 50% ownership in this company that I've loved for nearly 15 years. He's like, it's me and 2 other people. He's like, we get orders all the time. We just turn them down. He's like, I'm retired. He used to go sell everybody else's beef jerky all over the country. He was like the #1 sales guy for beef jerky. He's like, I know what's wrong with beef jerky. I know what can make it better. I know the flavors that people want. And he went and made it. And I fell in love with it. So we find the gas station. Asher and I are on this mission to go find this beef jerky this morning. And I hand the beef jerky over to him and I go, tell me, I'm going to give you high expectations. This is the best beef jerky you'll ever have in your life. Tell me in 3 seconds what comes to your mind.
Do you have any in the car?
I don't have any in my car, but I'll send you some because I know the owner now.
Yeah.
Me. So I go, Asher pops one in his mouth, not even a full bite, and he looks at me and goes, holy cow. I go, what's the first thing come to your mind? He says, best beef jerky I've ever had. Best beef jerky I've ever had. And I go, all right, cool. And then I said, who do you think is going to be the owner of this company? He goes, I don't know. Who? Bill Gates? Somebody going to buy this? I go, I just bought it with nothing down. He's like, how is this possible? And so anyway, there's a handful of lessons here. One, you expect all business owners that have this great perception and this great public viewpoint. Like people see your branding. They see your beef jerky in a gas station. You assume massive companies that people are just going to come in and go, yeah, you're $100 million company or $20 million company. What you're never suspecting is that there's somebody in distress or somebody's like, yeah, I'm over this. I want to retire. Same thing with housing. Same thing with anything else.
Right.
You drove by houses 5 years ago and you're like, okay, people living in houses. Now Jeremy Davis drives by a house and goes, why don't you sell your house to me? Why don't you let me take over your payments? Here we are sitting in a cul-de-sac in a house. I'll even say mansion. It's a big ass house in a big ass cul-de-sac. Okay. It's a monster house in a big cul-de-sac. You took over payments subject to. 5 years ago, you wouldn't even have known that was even a thing.
Nope.
And so the lesson I say there is that people don't realize how valuable these little pieces of knowledge are. Like all the knowledge you got from school, all the knowledge you got from working hard, high school, your friends, your parents, basically gave you the work ethic you have today, but it's the things that you have had to learn in the last 5 years and the things that you will have to learn in the next 5 years that will make Jeremy Davis 100 millionaire.
Yeah. That's the podcast. That's it.
I mean, well, we're going to digest all that stuff. We're going to get into Jeremy Davis's story and how he came into real estate.
Well, first though, I need to know, when is the official beef jerky coming out?
When the name?
I mean, are you guys changing the name? I assume it's not Bob's.
No, I will not. Anymore? I will not change the name.
It's the name that sticks.
It's already he sells in over 250 stores already. He has brand recognition. He's been around for 15 years. Everybody loves this company. All my friends love this company. When I tell my friends I bought this company and I got into it for nothing down, and I immediately became this guy's partner, and we went out and scaled this thing and doubled it, my friends are like, they'll be like, you're lying.
Did you do this while you were at the Spartan race?
I did this today, 2 hours ago, or 2 hours before I came in and hung out with you.
Nice. Literally.
And so tomorrow on my way out of town up to Idaho, I'm going to sit down with him and get all the particulars and work it all out. So my point is, there's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm driving to a gas station and the thought is, I can't wait to get a bag of meat. Meanwhile, somebody that understands how to use creative finance in business says, I want to go buy a company that I've been using. It's crazy how frequently you will run into homeowners that you think everything from the outside, you assume everything's working great. Marriage is fine. Business is fine. They're not in foreclosure, but then you see them on a foreclosure list and then you get into their house and you hear their story and you're like, holy crap. You would never guess people seeing you at church, probably seeing you at school, seeing you at whatever. Everything looks fine, but I see you on a foreclosure list.
Right.
And you know these things. So it's cool to watch and watch you build your business based on these fun pieces of information. So yes.
What's the book that you're enjoying right now? Buy, Not Build?
Buy, Not Build. It's really good.
Has that manipulated your mindset at all towards looking at businesses, or is it just more of a reinforcement book?
It's more of a reinforcement book and a lot of statistics that I didn't know, which I really liked. I also realized that nowhere in there did he talk about creative finance. He says, oh, well, seller finance. Oh, Carly, I probably should have told you that I could let you go.
Okay. I was hoping.
I love you. I appreciate you.
Bye, Carly.
Bye, Carly. So that business book is really good, but some books you read, like the one I just wrote for Bigger Pockets, is a lot more like reminding people what creative finance is. And then I have a second book coming out with them that will actually like get into the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, Buy Not Build, it was talking about the statistics of like, 10,000 people are retiring every day. I'm like, okay, well, not all of those are business owners, but probably a good 40-50% of them are.
Right. So
where are those businesses going? Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a business buying podcast. I want to turn this into just the purview that everybody has and the optics that you're using, the glasses that you're looking through, 5 years ago versus today, how they've changed everything in not just your life, my life, but everybody else that's watching this podcast right now. Look at Sam Singh, right? Sam Singh sent me a text message the other day just saying how he knows all. Sam Singh says, Pace looking jacked. I am jacked, bro. I've been eating this amazing beef jerky, protein, dog. Anyway, so Jeremy Davis, everybody give it up for Jeremy Davis.
What's up, guys?
Is it the Jeremy Davis on Instagram?
I prefer the Jeremy Davis. It's more, it's royal.
It's more biblical.
Yeah. The Jeremy Davis.
The Jeremy Davis on Instagram. Go follow him, guys. He's a great leader in our community. Wholesaling, fixing and flipping, creative finance. He's phenomenal. Also, if you guys are out there and you need somebody to speak on a stage across the country, this guy will get on a freaking airplane and go and speak to your guys' RIA, go speak to your meetups, go speak to whoever. Jeremy,
would love to.
When did you come into my world? When did we become friends?
December 2020.
Holy moly. It's almost coming on 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So COVID hit and, yeah, I don't know if I told you like the full story of like, did I ever tell about my motorcycle accident?
No.
All
this is the time for that.
Okay. All right. So let's go back in time. So we're 2012 or sorry, 2010. I was a paramedic in the film industry and I was riding my motorcycle through the canyons of Malibu and I got hit head on by a Harley. The Harley sends me 150 feet off the cliff. He crossed the double yellows. He was just, inexperienced. I break my back, my arms, my shoulders. I get airlifted out. I was basically disabled for about 2 years.
Wow.
2012 rolls around. And
so this is 2010.
The accident was 2010. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So I was out of work, no paramedic job for 2 years straight. And 2012 rolls around and that's the time to buy real estate, right? That was like the bottom had now started to rise. And so this is partially why I have a small disdain for agents. I started going to agents saying, I want to buy a house. I've got good cash. I've got good credit, but I didn't have the work history. And all the agents said, you can't do it. You can't buy a house. And so they're like, all of them suggested, well, why don't you go back to getting like a regular W-2, maybe go serving tables. So I took
Thank you, Mr. Agent.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Where was Pace Morby in 2012? Were you still contracting in 2012? I think
2012. It was like I was contracting. Yeah.
So I get a job serving tables. I moved my way up to being a chef. I moved my way into being a sommelier, so the wine dude in Beverly Hills. And then when COVID hits, I was done. My career was done. There was no more fine dining. There was nothing going on. And so I sat there, it was funny. Jerry Norton was talking about when COVID hit, how he sat there just watching TV and depressed. I did the exact same thing. I was like, this career that I've been building up and imagining that I was going to have a lifelong of serving wine and having delicious meals, it came to an end, a crashing halt. And I did not know because of COVID when that was going to come back. And so I sat there for probably about like 3 or 4 months playing video games, just wasting my time and just trying to stay at least a little bit happy. And
had you met this really hot wife of yours yet?
Yeah. The really hot wife, Katie, she was already in the life. We got married in November of 2019. We were planning our honeymoon to Japan.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What a time to get married, dude. Like here you are. Everything's going great in the restaurant and sommelier business. You guys get married 2019 November.
Yep.
Right as
no honeymoon, nothing, like just shut down life. Do you remember that feeling the first time that we walked into a supermarket? That eerie feeling when COVID hit, like you're like, everyone here is going to kill me. They all are infected. Everyone's infected. Well, that was our fresh marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So anyway, so we, let's see here. So I'm sitting there depressed and really not knowing what to do next. And then it hit me. I sat there and I go, I was only supposed to serve tables temporarily until I can buy a house. I still have cash. I still have good credit, but I'm going to start learning a little bit about creative finance. And I've heard it. It's been dabbling. And there's a guy, this weird guy on Facebook and YouTube named Pace that was talking about it a little bit here and there. And before I joined Sub 2, I started to go to all the local RIAs, right? And let me actually fast forward. So backtrack. I wanted to move out of California. I hated Los Angeles. I really did. I mean, California, beautiful, beautiful state. But living in LA, driving 2.5 hours to and from work every day, it just really wasn't the lifestyle I wanted.
Plus COVID hit.
Yeah. Plus
COVID in LA was not a fun place to be.
Exactly right. Everything was utterly shut down.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I go like, what do I want to do right now? I don't want to be in California anymore. And so I started looking into different states that have better politics, a better lifestyle. But there was one thing in particular I was looking for, and that was the worst fine dining scene in the nation. And that's Utah.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
Like fine dining wise?
None. Like Sonic drive-through.
Okay. No joke. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm eating well. We have the Spartan race coming up. I'm like, I'm going to have a steak right before. And I'm like, what's the best steak I can get my hands on? Where did I go?
It's Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Road. How did you freaking know? And I haven't been to Texas Roadhouse in like 10 years. Like if I want a nice steak, Scottsdale has great steak, right?
Right.
They have restaurants you've never heard of that are not like Michelin.
I was at Mastro's
rated.
for 4 years.
There you go. Yeah. Mastro's. Okay. Mastro's. A lot of people go to Mastro's like $1,100 per dinner. You don't have to go to Mastro's to get an amazing steak, although they are one of the best, right? Yeah. For sure. But their fine dining, the whole experience is phenomenal, right? The service, the sommelier, they're bringing me like Powerade because I don't drink.
Right.
But you go to Utah, your best steak option is Texas Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and you decided to go from LA to Utah.
I intentionally burnt the boats behind me. I said, I'm going to go into real estate. I don't care where it's at. I just can't hold on to my career. I need to let it go. Say bye-bye to serving tables. Like, and here's the good thing about serving tables. It was a natural sales training. Every single table you walk up to is a new door knock. It's a new cold call. You have to identify right away, like, what are their shoes? What are their watches? What are they wearing? As much as I hate to sound this way prejudiced, but different ethnicities order different types of food, right? Yeah. You can identify that very quickly and early on. And in regards to sales, it moved in that direction for me. So when I started getting in real estate, it was a very easy transition to start having conversations from the table to the front door. And so, like I said, moving to Utah was my burning the boats behind me. It was, I don't want to serve tables anymore. So I came out to Utah with a good little nest egg. And I sat here and I'm like, I'm going to get into fix and flipping. And I knew one person I went to high school with, name's Brandon Aquendo, amazing friend of mine. I owe so much of my success to him because he basically took me under his wing very early on when I first got out here, showed me around to the RIAs and all the meetups and stuff like that. And we wanted to do fix and flips together. And so I think we toured somewhere around 75 to 80 properties out here in Salt Lake, and we got outbid on every single one, right? Like, yeah, it wasn't this market here in Salt Lake was so just flaming hot that I couldn't compete with it. So finally, like the 80th property we go to tour, and this is funny, you'll know who I'm talking about. I go to this house and we bid $140,000 over asking to a wholesaler. And they go, congratulations, you win. We're going to give you a call in the morning. We're going to let you know the details. So morning comes around. I get no call. I send a text, no answer. I give a phone call, find the answer. I go, hey, what's up with the paperwork? I'm ready to get this going. They go, we got some bad news. We decided to sell it to a friend instead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, heart breaks. I've been trying so hard to get a property to start working on it. Everything just comes crashing down, crumbling down. And I go, you know what? I'm not one to give up. So instead of trying to find a house being sold to me from wholesalers, I'm going to become a wholesaler, and I'm going to use the capital that I have to start marketing correctly and stuff like that. So
control.
Yeah. So I say I'm not going to do fix and flips for a little bit.
You've always been a control guy. A
little bit.
I'm a control guy too. And if you're going to build a business that's relying entirely on wholesalers, that's only going to last so long.
Right. Exactly.
And it was inevitable that move is going to happen anyway. It's better that it happened before like your rise happened. You know what I'm saying? Because other people will go in JV for like 2-3 years and they're like, man, I have no control. I have no systems. I have no this. I don't own any properties. I don't have, I don't even own my own property. Right. I've just been JVing and co-wholesaling for 3 years. You created the control mechanism way earlier in your career than most people do.
Well, let's go back to when I was a chef. The best dishes that you can create were farm to table. It was going directly to the producer or the seller or the homeowner themselves and finding the deal yourself and controlling the quality of what you're bringing into your product.
Right.
And so I started wholesaling. It was very hard in Salt Lake. So then I joined Jeff Rappaport. Have you met Jeff?
Yeah.
He was all about creative finance. I went to a RIA. There's a guy named Augie Bylot that both of them together blew my mind. This was before I really knew who you were. And after I got like the foundation of creative finance, then obviously the Google analytic, the algorithm starts showing me Pace Morby. And so you're popping up on my feed over and over again. And I go, all right, I gotta check this out. So I think, can I tell about the text message I sent you?
Yeah.
So I sent a message to Pace before he even knew who I was, before I even joined Sub 2. And I said, hey, I'm looking to chronicle my journey through a mentorship such as yours. And I would show zero to hero, me starting from the beginning and then moving my way up into your mentorship and becoming successful. Would you give me that opportunity? And your response was, I get messages like this every single day. What makes you different? And I never responded to you. And I just went to sub2.com and I joined. And very shortly after that, I became a leader in the community.
Yeah.
Helped you guys out. I mean, this was a couple hundred people in the beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry. My son likes to growl.
We got babies. We know. Katie, you don't need to worry about that.
Honestly, I don't think it's
if
going to pick up his voice
if it picks up the baby sound and somebody's upset about it, they can kiss all of our butts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, go ahead. Just sit down in the chair and
just enjoy yourself. Yeah. Don't worry about anybody else. We're here and hanging out with we're hanging out with him.
Yep.
Okay. So when you came in, I remember you guys had just moved to Utah. And I remember I would tease you. I would go, once you get past your overthinking, you're going to skyrocket.
Yep.
At the very beginning, but it's one of the classic things about you is that you have such a strong brain that you think through everything really, really well. And I said, dude, I remember the first conversation I had with you. I go, when you get past that stage, you're going to go, pow.
And I'll be honest, I'm still not past it. And I think
what?
No,
as you're living in a sub-2 house in a cul-de-sac,
I still overthink everything.
Well, no, I know, but during that phase,
for sure,
right? You weren't doing deals at scale. I think you might have even been looking for your first wholesale or creative finance deal at the time. And I go, bro, I promise you're going to do 100 deals. And then it wasn't even 3, 4, or 5 months later, you popped off like $100,000 assignment.
My first deal, and I actually need to ask you this if it was a joke, but you suggested Gary, Indiana.
No, I love Gary, Indiana.
So I did my first deal at Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
I bought it for $2,200, sold it for $6,600.
Yes.
Proof of concept, right?
Yes.
Not a slam dunk deal, but I mean, out here in Utah now, our average assignment fee is about $51,000. And so we've moved our way up, and
I remember in the beginning, I did suggest Gary, Indiana, because there was a handful of people already out there, and it was one of these markets that's super distressed.
Right.
You were at the time you were going, I can't do Utah. It's too competitive. And I said, you're saying that to yourself because you haven't obtained the skills, but just watch. And you did go to Indiana. You were out there for a number of months. You came back to Utah. I didn't know when you came back to Utah because you just made the transition without talking to me or telling me you were doing it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, we've been cranking out deals in Utah. And I think the first time I talked to you about a Utah deal, I think you had locked up $100,000 plus assignment fee.
So when that transition happened, it was when I had a previous partnership. And when that partnership kind of fell apart, my acquisition manager, Alex, at the time, he shined. When things went tough, he doubled down, tripled down, did even better. And so he came to me when that partnership fizzled out and he says, hey, Jeremy, what could I do to earn a partnership with you? I would love to, be your integrator. And I realized
he was your acquisition guy turned into an integrator.
He was a realtor that thought he should do acquisitions, but then it started to really show he loves processes. He loves project management. I mean, like the guy's literally the EOS system walking and talking.
This is why I love the Avatar series I came up with like 2 years ago, is that I'm like, some of y'all are wasting a year, 2 years of your life in the wrong thing.
Right.
There's a lot of women that are like stay-at-home moms that are out there cold calling, like literally cold calling on their cell phone. I'm like, that is the last thing you should be doing. You should be transaction coordinating, being somebody's back office. You should be doing anything but what you're doing. But all they see on YouTube is cold call.
Yep.
Right? Go, as my friend Brent Daniels would say, go talk to people. It's like, no. I mean, yes, technically being a transaction coordinator is also talking to people, and then
for sure,
integrator is still talking to people, but the industry has this, they pay this homage and they give all the respect to the closer.
Right.
And so everybody thinks they have to be the closer. So Alex thought he had to be the closer. He jumped in your team to be acquisitions, then realizes, dude, I don't like this. I don't get my jollies from being on the phone. Whereas a guy like you and a guy like me put us on the phone all day long. We could talk to sellers all day long.
Yep.
I love talking to sellers. I love meeting with sellers. I think you love meeting with sellers too, right?
Love it.
So Alex probably was like, give me a spot as your integrator.
Yep, exactly right.
Okay, you brought up something that's really important. By the way, can everybody see my tricep? I asked Jeremy to put a light on my tricep. He did a great job. We actually put a Sharpie and we drew
makeup right there.
It's a little bit of makeup right there. So let's go back to the partnership. I know we don't need to talk about who it was. You and I know who it was.
Yep.
But you had a partnership that fell apart.
Right.
And you're a positive guy. Okay, so let's talk about some positive stuff there. What did you walk away? And number one, what were a couple of reasons why it failed?
So a couple of reasons why it failed. Number one, it was two visionaries. So this person was actually partnered with someone else as well. But when this person came to me, he was an elevated individual. And he was a massive visionary. And I remember I came to you, and this was like, Pace, can I get on a phone call with you? Like, I've got this opportunity and I would love to get your opinion. And you said, absolutely effing not.
Yeah, I said, stay. And it wasn't that I thought the guy was a bad guy. It was just, I go, so I obviously know who this is really well. And he was elevated in our community. He's very active at the time. He's still a little bit active, but not as active. And there's not as much shine on him today as there was 3 years ago, let's say. And it wasn't because of my opinion of him changed. It was just because the busier you get, the less time you have to show up to the community Zooms. You've gone through that as well. Doesn't mean you're not leading. It doesn't mean you're not running and doing a lot of things. It just means you're not on the Zooms where you're learning more content.
Right.
You text me and you go, hey, do you have a couple minutes? I go, yeah, I'm on TV set. This is season 1 of Triple Digit Flip. I didn't have control of the TV network at the time. Now, if I say I want a 1 hour call, they're like, whatever you want.
Right.
At the time, they'd look at me and go, you're joking me, right? You're on a TV set right now and you want to take 5 minutes? So I jump on the call with you. Tell me who you're going to partner with. And I go, no, absolutely not. Not that he's a bad guy, but why did I tell you guys to stay away from each other?
Because we're both visionaries.
And why is that a problem?
Because visionaries are both trying to push something forward while no one is there to, like, the visionary creates the bucket and the integrator fills the bucket.
Yes.
And there was nobody to fill the buckets of what we were both trying to build.
You turn around, there's 85,000 buckets.
Right.
Empty.
It's all I mean, you got to think about this. Like, if I were to go to you, Pace, and I have no idea who you are, and I'm like, I want to create an opportunity to work with Pace Morby. If I don't have an integrator behind me, do you think Pace is going to slow down for me?
No. I tell people, the people come to me all the time. I'm sure it happens to you now at your stage, your phase. People go, Jeremy, I want to work with you. Pace, I want to work with you. I go, great. Who's going to do the work?
Right.
And they're like, well, we are. No, we're not. Who is the person?
Yep.
I'm always thinking of an integrator, an operator, maybe an operator to a certain degree. They're all three similar, but also different in size of businesses that require those individual people. But I go, who's the person that's going to run it? And you guys jumped into 2 visionaries, basically just out there creating buckets all day long.
Right. 2 alphas creating buckets.
Yeah.
And things just started falling through the cracks like crazy.
Like, give me an example of falling through the cracks where people have no idea what that looks like.
Well,
like leads were not being followed up with.
Leads were not being followed at all, because here's what's going on is that while I'm trying to talk to my own sellers or my own leads, and then I'm expecting that these sellers and these leads are being handled at that same time, that person is doing some other contract somewhere else, doing something different, and is not thinking about solidifying the business that we're trying to build right now, but thinking about what's the next step, what's the next thing that they can build. And so they're moving on from they're island hopping, right? Yeah. And so you can't island hop until you stabilize your business, or until you have, the level that you are, Pace, to where you have operators beneath you or side by side with you, to where you could hop from an island to an island, because you've got, you show me the Venn diagram that you got 3 different operators. If Cody doesn't have the bandwidth, you've got another person, and then another person after that. But if you don't have those operators that are able to solidify the bucket that you're trying to build, you can't island hop yet. You have to start bringing in income. That's where you say money-making activities. Well, your money-making activity now, Pace, is creating opportunities for your company, for your life, and for your future.
Yeah.
But you can't go creating opportunities if that opportunity just fizzles out the minute that you walk out that room.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what was basically happening, is that while I was focused on one thing and kind of solidifying that business, the other visionary was doing their own thing, going off and trying other stuff.
And both visionaries are both thinking, man, we're working so hard.
Right.
The reality is you're working against each other.
Yep.
Without thinking it. And then at the end of 2 visionaries' inevitable implosion, you both blame each other.
Yep.
Because his story is going to be
totally different.
Freaking Jeremy.
Yeah.
And your story is freaking Guy. Right. That's the story.
Yep. And
it's interesting. I've had a lot of business breakups, especially in my 20s when I was working with visionaries as well. This is what I remember telling you on the phone when I was walking through a neighborhood. It's 112 degrees outside in Arizona. I was on the phone with you trying to find some shade under a cactus. And I said, here's what's going to happen. Your partner who's also a visionary, is going to go home and tell his wife or significant other that they are the hardest working person in that business, and without them, the whole business would fall apart. And I go, when you go home to your wife, doesn't your wife believe that you're the hardest working person? Katie, is this partly true?
Yes.
Yeah, this is, by the way, this is true in my business too. It's true to such a degree that I tease Cody about it all the time. Because we both, our spouses have the perception of, well, without Cody, without Pace, right, type of thing. With visionaries, it's 10 times worse, because the visionaries go home and they can actually paint a picture, whereas an integrator couldn't tell you a story if he was reading it out of a children's book. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I got Katie to laugh. There we go. Okay, so they're not really painting that picture clearly to their spouse, whereas two visionaries are going home and telling these very eloquent stories about, I did this today, and I did this today, and I worked so hard, and I did this, and da-da-da-da. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, your wife is like, why is there not more money today than there was 90 days ago?
Right.
And it's like, I see how hard you're working. It's like, yeah, but it's not until maybe 3 to 6 months later that you had the full realization of, like, we were working, but we were actually working against each other.
Yep.
How did you unravel that? Was it a pretty situation?
Definitely not pretty.
Okay.
Definitely not pretty.
I remember it. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah. It was not a pretty situation. I hope that person and the other person they work with do great for themselves.
Right.
But it left a very sour taste in my mouth. But here's, you asked the question, what did I take from that?
Yes, that's where I was actually heading. I wanted to hear the positive things. What are the positive things that Jeremy Davis took away from that business breakup?
So number one, obviously, visionary is not a thing, right? It's just, you look at the biggest businesses in the world, there is no visionary combo. It's always visionary integrator. Number two, vet your partners. Literally do as much due diligence as possible. If that person wasn't elevated in the sub 2 mentorship as much as he was, I would have probably done a little bit more vetting for myself.
Yes.
But for me, it's like you, Pace. If you came to me and said, Jeremy, I want you to be my partner, even if I learned that lesson from before, I probably wouldn't even vet you. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so honored. It's Pace Morby trying to be my partner. But that's the whole lesson that I learned, is that whoever you're going to be working with, there are people that will always, maybe not intentionally, but people that will always do wrong for the business that you're trying to build. And
say that again.
They may not do it intentionally, but there's people out there that will always do wrong for the business that you're trying to build.
Yes.
And so you have to, no matter what, if it's, Pace Morby, Cody Sperber, anybody out there, any big name, just because they're a big name, they may not be the right fit for your business.
Yeah.
And so that is where
this is hard for me, because I have full awareness of that. And I'm at a point now where people and I have been for probably the last 4 years, people bring me opportunities that are just amazing opportunities. I go, I can't help you. In fact, I would be a bad fit for you. I would implode your business.
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm going to explode it. I'm going to implode it. It's going to die. Well, no. We want to partner with you. No, you don't. I'm not a good fit for you.
Right.
This is a horrible fit. No. We'll do everything. No, you won't. Otherwise, you wouldn't need me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need somebody to bring X, Y, and Z. So I was in, it's a really great little segue for a second. I want to bring this back. I'm in New Jersey, New York, Abraham, Carl Allen, Chris Moore's event. 3 people come up to me in the lobby. Pace, we have this amazing business in Utah. We want to bring you in as a partner.
Beef jerky.
No, I wish it was. And I go, guys, I'm going to stop you right there. Everything that I can see that you need, I bring 0 of that to the table. No. But we want to partner with Pace Morby. Why? What do I bring to the table? Oh, branding. I go, guys, I know I'm great at branding and I'm great at all these things. And any of these companies I own that I touch, I'm the branding guy behind all of them. I know that I could help you out, but guess what? The problem is, if I now am using this mouth for your little business, and that's the only thing I bring to the table, what's going to happen is I'm going to naturally want to go spend more time where I have bigger checks, and I'm going to forget that this business even exists. I am going to actually be a bad partner for you. I'm going to hurt your business, and I won't do it intentionally, but I'm aware enough in my life that I know that that's going to happen. So I have to pass you up, but I'm honored by it, but I will hurt your business. So That's a really great point. People can hurt your business even when they're intentionally not doing it.
Yep, exactly. So when Alex, my partner now, and I love the guy. He's an incredible business partner, and he does everything that my business needs for me. And here's the funny thing is that when I started working with him, I honestly believed that everything that I wanted, he wanted. Meaning, I wanted to get on stages, he wanted to get on stages. Like I couldn't put my mindset into somebody else, and like I assumed that the things that were important to me in business must have been important to him as well. But then I realized, like does Cody have a massive desire to get on stages and be a brand and be a face?
You know, what's great about Cody is Cody has a desire to do it because he thinks that it will help the business. No, that's for Zoom. So he thinks that it would help the business. So in his mind, he's like, oh, I need to be on a stage because it will help the business. I'm like, no. Let the stage guy be on stage. I'll tell the stories. Again, Cody, if I asked Cody to tell me a book or read me a book, he still couldn't tell me a story, right? So I go, no, dude, it's not a good fit. When he realized it wasn't a good fit, he went, okay, good.
Right.
So I don't have to. He acted like he wanted to, but realized he was happy he didn't have to because he realized that it was better that he didn't.
It's the square peg in a round hole.
Right.
Is that I thought that because I'm a square peg that everybody thinks like a square hole. And so Alex is like, no, Jeremy, go out, do what you do best, go network, go create opportunities, go talk to sellers, close deals. I'm going to sit here in the background and make spreadsheets. Like that's what he loves. Or I mean, he doesn't love to do spreadsheets, but like he enjoys project management. He enjoys Asana. He enjoys Monday. Like that is something that every business will eventually need. You know, like in sub 2, there are so many new investors that are just the hustler. They're just the solopreneur. They're making the calls. They're trying to learn what CRM to use and all that kind of stuff. But there's going to come a point that every person out there, once you start to get to 1 to 2 to 3 deals and you have that proof of concept, you're going to eventually find that partner that's going to come into your life eventually. Like it's not like a, what's the saying that when you're ready, the mentor will come into your life kind of thing. It's the same thing.
When the student is ready, the teacher will show up.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel it's the same thing when it comes to the partner, because the more you network, the more relationships you create, the more you begin to identify personality traits of your friends and your colleagues, you begin to see that person might actually be a good person for what I'm looking for right now. You know?
Yeah, you don't even know what you're looking for until you actually have something to offer. So for a good example of that would be if you've never done a deal before, but you're going out and looking for a partner in your business, it's like, you don't bring any value to this table.
Right.
You should be out there hustling and figuring out and causing chaos. And actually, the chaos that you brought to Alex as a partner actually was value to Alex, because now he had some chaos to calm down.
Yep.
Rather than just a napkin idea of like, hey, let's start a business. Okay, great. Should we meet next week?
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's like, no, I have all these things going on. I've created a wake. I need you to surf it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Where, and that leads to the next section of like where my struggles are, is that I feel like I'm where you and Cody were when you guys first started. I wouldn't say first started building your partnership or your business, but like the next stage after, which is now you gave a great analogy the other day about the 3D model when you were speaking at a local meetup, and you drew that little diagram and you said, okay, so here's my 3 operators, but then you turn to the side and now you lift it up into a 3D model.
Yeah.
And now you have people above your operators or above your integrators that are now responsible for managing these projects and stuff like that. That is what we are realizing right now that we're needing to learn. You know, like it's the who, not how model times 10.
Yeah.
It's not just who do you hire to sign fill out a website or, create something like that. It's who do you hire to bring into your company to handle all of your marketing, to understand your click funnels, to, do all of your email blasts, all that kind of stuff. You can't just have a VA do that. You have to hire and spend money to have a professional that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I talked about this. I talk about this all the time. Katie, if you want to just leave us on wide, I don't care. Whatever's easier. I don't want you feeling like you got to come running back and forth. If you got to walk him down the hallway or anything like that, guys, give it up for Katie. She's been running the technical side.
This is the first time we're using this, by the way,
all
guys.
the way from Santa Clarita. Santa
California.
Clarita. That's in, by the way, guys, look at the triceps. They're popping. It's
Bro.
makeup. It's just makeup, just so you know.
We'll have to censor this.
I feel like, give Jeremy a little bit more camera if you don't mind, Katie. On that. Yeah, turn it over a little bit. We need to see I want to see there you go.
No, well, now you're off.
Who cares? People have seen enough of me, bro. They need to see you, dog. Okay, so
and they see my dog.
You don't see a lot of mid-range businesses. Okay. You don't see people that are like, oh, I'm going to be worth $10 million and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, once you decide I'm going to go do something big, it requires a huge investment. This is why so back to the book thing, buy then build.
Yep.
That book talked about 91% of entrepreneurs will never hit $1 million a year in revenue. 91% will never hit $1 million a year in revenue.
I can believe it.
Think about that again. 91% of all businesses ever created will never hit $1 million a year in revenue.
Well, how many of those 91% are Etsy?
But even Etsy doesn't matter. Here's the biggest problem. It's not the format or where they're coming from. It's their inability to reinvest to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, I've hit a point where now I can quit my job and I can live a life, right, away from a job, and I'm no more W-2. I'm just working on my own business, whatever that is. Real estate investor, fix and flipper. That includes fix and flippers. That includes wholesalers. That includes everybody, right? So what's the difference between the 9% that get up to a higher amount and the 91% that never hit $1 million? Is the part where you're in right now.
Yep.
The part you're in right now is taking a portion of the money you're generating and sacrificing it and saying, we're going to go gamble this money on the next hire.
I like that you use the word gamble.
It is a gamble.
Yeah.
Because you'll lose 9 out of the next 10 rolls.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hit it, you get a Molly, or you get a Heidi, or an Allison, or Melissa, Sarabi, a lot of the girls, a Carly, for heaven's sakes, right? What people don't see, they see the glorious things and they see the faces of the people on my team. But what they don't see is what Cody had to go through to interview 40 people to get 4 good ones.
Mm-hmm. And
that's where you guys are at right now. Is I think you guys must have just come up with this realization. You've been aware of it. Sometimes life has to hit you in the face a few times. You go, okay. Life is telling us it's time. But you guys have not been actively interviewing quite yet, because I think you just came to this realization. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were talking about like hiring an assistant, right? Like there's a disconnect in my brain where, because I don't even know what my day tomorrow is going to look like. I feel like a pinball every single day, that to guide somebody to do what I need them to do every single day is a hard idea for me to grasp and wrap my head around. But if I were to start to document, what do I do every single day? Look at my calendar, document it. And then I also, and you gave a great point. When you hire an assistant, that assistant is also required to take things off your plate without you asking.
Yes.
Because it's their job to identify the things that are taking up a lot of your time, taking you away from money-making activities. And so for us, for that example right there, is that we are realizing that myself, Jeremy Davis, I am spending way too much time in menial minimum wage tasks, way too much time. Like we have a property that needs to be sprayed for ants. It's right down the street from my house. I'll go do it. And because I'm saving myself some money, but at the same time, there should be an assistant spraying for ants.
Yeah.
And so you said the word gamble, and that's exactly right. In the beginning stages, it's you get a deal, you make the money, you then either reinvest it back into marketing or you buy deals, right? So like every $50,000 I was making off of an assignment fee, I was buying a creative deal over and over and over again, which was also a weakness of mine because I should have been focusing on private money. I really, looking back now, I thought that the cash cow of wholesale was going to keep bringing in cash deals. The market slipped. We're not seeing as many cash deals now. We're seeing much more creative. So now it's my job to find more private money to be able to handle those creative deals.
Right.
But that's the whole point, is that if I'm spraying for ants, I'm not finding private capital. I'm not being able to buy more deals. I'm not being able to increase our portfolio.
What's the skill that you are lacking right now in that world, right? Because there's a moment of, I'm going to make a decision. to go out and spray ants, which is a skill that you have, and you've had it since you were probably 3.
Amazing at spraying ants.
Okay, you're amazing at spraying ants. And then the skill of doing going out and doing the other stuff. What is the skill you're lacking there that would go, there's no way I'm wasting my time with ants?
It's
the same thing with right now. If somebody came to you with a restaurant opportunity and said, will you come be a sommelier? You have the skill to do that, correct?
Of course.
But because of the other skills that you now possess, you would say hell to the no, because this other skill, you wouldn't even go waste your time with that.
Right.
So with the ant thing, what is the skill that you are missing that would have made you say hell to the no to that?
I think the skill that I'm missing is identifying that when I go do more better things, that I'm able to monetize that. And that money that I bring in, I think really what it comes down to is the money I bring in from new opportunities or creating those new buckets, that money should pay for the assistant, should pay for the ant spray and stuff like that. And so for me, we haven't had enough of that. I guess we're in that limbo phase right now where we're trying to build our infrastructure, trying to build the operators out to where when I create a bucket, it monetizes. But like, great example, social media.
Yeah.
I hired a videographer. I hired an editor, a social media manager, someone to handle all my social media. Great. I'm watching my followers grow. What I'm not doing is monetizing at all.
Yeah.
I don't know how to monetize my social media.
Yeah. The problem is a lot of people say it's coaching, and, coaching, while I think has been one of the very rewarding things for some people, I also look at most people in the coaching world in real estate and they all quit. And I know why they quit. It's a demanding job. And what happens is if you're not ready to become a mentor in the logistical, mechanical sense, that business can consume your entire real estate business to the point where it's robbing your other opportunity.
Yep.
What I always wanted to do and why I set sub two up the way that I set sub 2 up, as I said, I never want to be a mentor. I never want to be a coach. I'll do the things that mentors do and the coaches do, but I don't want to turn that into where any of my money comes from. I want to make it so many people are doing deals. I could just do JV deals all day long, right? But there are a handful of people I look at in the real estate space where I'm like, yeah, I can see that coaching was profitable for them for a year. And then what happened is their entire real estate business imploded. And then they go back to their coaching business and they're like, I don't have any examples to show my students. So what's tough is that you're also in the space of like, your wholesale business needs a little bit more systems built in order for you to go duplicate another money-making activity. If you go and let's say, if I were you, there's a couple of things I would go do to go make additional money. One, the skill, I believe, going back to the spraying ant thing, I think the spraying of ant thing that you're missing is the word delegation. You haven't learned delegation yet.
That's a great point.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sitting at Starbucks today. Okay. I'm like, all right, I gotta get away from the wife and kids for a little bit. And I got to get away from the trailer where there's my cuties and I want to just kiss on them and stuff. So here I am in Utah. For people that don't know, I'm in Utah and visiting for a week. I've got my Airstream just down the road. And so I go, all right, I'm going to get away from the Airstream, go to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks. I have like 85 emails. And about 2 years ago, I started practicing the phrase, that's not my job. And it was really hard for me. And I'll tell you what really actually helped me the most was having the TV show where I was physically incapable of replying to people. That TV show has made me so much more money than I could ever tell you. They paid me 45 grand for my first year on TV. My attorney who negotiated the contract cost me 47 grand. I lost 2 grand from the TV show, but I've made tens of millions of dollars from learning how to just say, I'm not available for you. And somehow, some way, people figured it out. The norm, I was telling your wife this up at Korean dinner upstairs. By the way, the Korean food I just had upstairs rivals a lot of Korean food I've had other places. Phenomenal. Thank you for that. It's so good. And Jeremy cooked it himself. Phenomenal. So I'm talking to her and just talking about how the norm that we have is you're supposed to talk to your business partner every day. How often do you think Cody and I talk every month?
Not as often as you once did.
Take a guess. Not as often. Yeah, I used to talk to him every day. And then I had that moment of clarity of like, why is this the normal?
Right.
And the new normal is probably once every 2 weeks, I talk to Cody for about 45 minutes. That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Is that on a team meeting? Is that like a
just me and him? I will never go on a team meeting, and neither should you be on a team meeting.
Okay.
Why are you on a team meeting?
I'm talking about like your accounting, your bookkeeping.
No, I don't even go to my bookkeeping meetings.
Okay.
Every Friday, Molly, Heidi, and Tony, my bookkeeper, go on a meeting. I've never been to one of those meetings one time. I get an email report. Here's your email.
This is how much money you made this week.
This is how much money we have in the account. For a while, Tony was saying, here's how much you have in the 17 business accounts that actually we use all the time. You should not be in any of these meetings.
So you said a line there, and I actually got really giddy when I heard it. So you said the line, that's not my job.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a turning point in my business that, I mean, and all of us, so many sub-2 students and so many new investors, you say the line that there's a million different ways to be successful in real estate.
Yeah.
Which is the way that you choose? Well, I was at a mastermind, and a guy named Dan Walters sat me down at dinner, and he goes, Jeremy, him and his partner repeat to themselves all the time, we don't do that. Now, we don't do that was the first thing that I needed to learn of not to get the shiny object syndrome to take me over. And I feel like we don't do that was freshman year. And I feel like that's not my job is sophomore year or junior year. And by you saying that, that brought a lot of happiness to my heart, because I go, you know what? I'm going to now repeat that. Cause I've said to myself,
that's not my job.
We don't do that 1,000 times. To Alex, Alex goes, hey, have you thought about doing midterm rentals? We don't do that. We do creative finance. We do wholesale. And that right there, that we don't do that line, that put us on the straight and narrow. That is the turning point of where we were dabbling in so many things early on, trying to find traction. That line right there got us to start making the 6-digit deals.
I want to make an argument. So let me finish my Starbucks thought real fast. I want to argue with that for a second.
Okay.
I agree with you, but I want to make a small argument for some of the people that have not gone through that phase of like chaos yet. So I go to Starbucks this morning. I look at my emails. I get stressed out when I can't answer my emails or text messages. And for the last, you and I did the Spartan race yesterday. I didn't look at my phone for 14 hours, right? So I go over to Starbucks, get internet, open up my email, 85 emails sitting there. I answered 2 myself. The other 83, it was, that's not my job. I didn't say that's not my job because that sounds like a douche thing to say. But I replied back with Molly. I go, hey, Molly, I'm so sorry. Can you help me take this off my plate? Blah, 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 blah. And I reply back to the person that sent me the email, add Molly to it. And I go, Molly, so sorry. Can you take this off my plate, please? I'm tied up in Utah, blah, blah, blah. The next one, hey, Melissa, I'm so sorry. I'm replying. I'm copying Tim. Can you please da-da-da? Next one, da-da-da. And I'm just bringing people from my team involved. Right. And I look at the end of my email thing, literally my email, I got down to maybe my entire email inbox right now, besides the 4 that I've received today since we've been on this. That's my whole inbox right here. This is my whole inbox.
That's your superpower, by the way, going through your inbox.
Every morning. It's a religious thing. I have to do it. I empty my inbox every single morning. So today I went through that and I was like, that's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. So I said something to you at the mastermind recently. I said a lot of the reasons why people don't delegate 4 hours of their day is because they can't envision what the new 4 hours of their day should look like. And that's where I think I got to tell you a couple of things that I focus on here in a second. But that'll be my next thing. And I want to ask you a couple of things because I think, is that what's happening to you right now?
100%.
It happened to me for like 4 years.
Yep.
So I'll tell you, hopefully I can condense yours down to 4 months. But for me, it was that. I was like, I don't want to delegate because I don't know what the hell I should be doing with my time. These weren't even conscious thoughts. It's subconscious. So you find a way to get involved in everything.
Yep.
You're probably on 7 phone calls and Zooms with your business partner every day.
We don't even really get off Zoom.
Okay, well, you're in the worst part.
Yeah.
But you're in a part where everybody had to go through it. For me and Cody, it was never Zoom. I didn't want to be on Zoom. Cody and I would go to his condo. This is before we bought an office, and I would lay on the carpet in his condo, and I go, next lead, and I literally would just lay down. And I was on the phone. Next lead. Then when I get a seller that was obviously ready to negotiate, I would walk outside. I'd close them. I'd drive over to the house, come back out. Next lead. That was the beginning, and it was like, I don't want to call you every time we have a lead or text you. Can we just meet? And I would just go, I'll just sit in your condo on the floor because he didn't even have a chair for me. Stupid bachelor didn't even have a chair for me to sit in. So I think we should cover that for a minute. But the argument I would make for you and your partner before you ran into the guy at the mastermind that said, that's not what we do.
We don't do that.
We don't do that, which is priceless as well. And by the way, anybody could have told you that. The difference is when it comes from somebody who's surpassed that phase, it carries weight.
For sure.
Right? So, and then you also started implementing it. But the argument I would make is that the chaos of you going and dabbling in a bunch of things taught you the things that you did want to do and told you the things you didn't want to do based on your passions and things you were excited about. Did it not?
It absolutely did. And this is also, and this is all, there's a negative side to this as well. That was also the moment that I stopped going to a lot of your Zooms. Even though I love your Zooms, I loved being in the side chat. That was a moment for me to realize I know what I'm good at. I know I'm good at closing deals and wholesaling, and I'm great at getting sellers on a very, very low price point. That is something that I need to shine. And when all of your Zooms, like, here's the thing, when Sub 2 first started, your Zooms were very, very, I would say focused on a couple of small things. It was wholesale, subject to, seller finance. And then it started to grow out and grow out. And it was like an expanding universe of knowledge.
Yeah.
And for me being the sponge that I am, I want to learn everything that you have to teach, every single thing. But the more that I'm on those Zooms, what's that?
Me too.
Yeah. The more that I'm on those Zooms, it's also taking me away from the focus that got me to 7 figures last year.
Right.
And so it's by the saying, we don't do that. It was me going, there's always going to be short-term rentals. There's always going to be pad split. There really will always be so many opportunities to make money in this business, but I need to become really good at one thing.
Yeah. And,
the saying is like, what's better, knowing 10,000 different types of kicks or one kick and doing it 10,000 times. And that's where, a lot of the big players in this business, they don't do everything. They do a couple things.
Yeah.
And I mean, so yeah, that was my turning point. But yeah, and then you bring into my life right now, that's not my job. I'm going to say that to Alex tomorrow about 40 different times.
Well, here's where it carries weight. Okay. It carries weight when you know what your job is. Okay. So for example, I go to masterminds that Cody doesn't go to. Cody goes to masterminds that I don't go to because we understand each other's jobs so well. I'm the bird dog for our businesses, right? So I go out and I hang out with other visionaries that have other ideas and other businesses, and I bring opportunities back to the business.
Yep.
So for example, I just brought a $5 million business back to our company that we bought with Creative Finance, no money out of pocket. We got another company 2 weeks ago, same thing, $5 million business. So my job is to go and find people, find opportunities, find ideas, find alliances, find big investors, go and create new things to then bring back to the table. And your mind is, well, we haven't perfected this one thing. You will never perfect it.
Right.
The market will shift. Okay. Let's say in 6 months, interest rates start dropping. They won't. But let's say 18 months, interest rates start dropping again. And you're like, dude, we almost perfected this model. The model that you've perfected is not creative finance assignments and holding. The model that you've perfected is finding opportunity in whatever climate exists.
Right.
And so if you understand that there's always going to be change, there's always going to be an adaptation, which you do know, then wouldn't it also make sense for you to go out and find another opportunity and then push on Alex? Here's the next thing.
Yep.
Because not only you should be saying, that's not my job, but Alex should also be saying, that's not my job. And Alex, I'm going to tell you, I don't personally know Alex as well as I know you. Obviously, we've become friends. But I can tell you the biggest issue in your business right now from a friend to friend is you not saying, that's not my job. And the second thing is you not pushing on Alex to say, that's not my job, and have him do the hiring. By the way, you should never hire anybody.
I try not to.
Alex is the person that should hire them because it's Alex's job to manage them.
Right.
That was a problem for me is I would hire people and I go, here you go, Cody. Now manage them. And Cody's like, you didn't take them through a process. You didn't onboard them properly. This person doesn't even have the skill sets we needed. Now I got to go through 3 months. I'm always 100% right about who I hire.
Always.
Click, click.
Always.
Oh, always. But I was stepping on his toes. And so I look at your business and I think if you went out right now and you found another business opportunity, let's say it was a property management company. By the way, there's a lot of property, there's 11,000 property management companies. for sale right now in the country. Okay. Over 1,000 of them would sell to you on owner finance.
Okay.
You could go to one of those 1,000 property management companies right now and go to Alex and go, we're buying a property management company. We're closing on it next week. I need you to be ready for it. The pressure for him to then delegate the other stuff would be 10 times greater than it currently is right now. The problem is there's no external pressure. It's like you guys are in this bubble and you are the visionary. You got to see your way out of that. And you got to pop that bubble and go, we're expanding the bubble.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. It could be a property management company. It could be a title company. It could be a lending business. It could be a handful of things. But I can tell you, one, you're too involved. Do you disagree or you agree?
I do not disagree in any way, shape, or form.
What are the activities you think you're doing too much of right now?
Handling some of our properties, property management, a lot of that.
And why is that? Is it just, again, delegation?
I think it's control. I think it's control to where, I mean, for example, we just finished a BRRRR and I did all of the
project management,
and I did all the interviewing of all the applicants.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
For the contractors or for the rental?
Both.
Okay.
For both. I feel like I made an excuse for myself because this property specifically is about 4 minutes from here. And I was like, I'm so close. It's close. I can handle this one.
Yeah.
But we have, it's in a neighborhood called Kearns. We've got a few properties in that neighborhood.
It's a great area.
And so, and I live, 4 minutes from that. And so I'd say control is a major reason that I'm trying to put my hands into every single project that's happening. But I know that the truth is I should only be in the acquisition business, maybe to close deals that need help closing.
Yeah.
But my team should be able to do that without me. I mean, here's the thing. Before last year, we were at 10 out of every 10 contracts went through to close.
Wow.
And at the time, I was really proud of that. But then I realized now that was me playing it way too safe. Mm-hmm. That was us being way too conservative, that we were only trying to lock up the home run deals or lock up the deals that would have no problem finding a buyer. And I mean, in your opinion, in your business, how many deals out of 10 fall out?
Now?
Yeah.
Probably 3 to 4.
Okay. I was going to say 7 deals should go through to the finish line.
Yeah.
3 should fall out. That's the right threshold of risk that I need to learn how to take.
When it was me and Laura, none.
Because you're controlling it.
I was controlling it. My wife and I were like taking our sellers to dinner. We're doing everything we possibly could to get that little $10,000 assignment fee across the table, doing all the things you're doing right now.
Exactly right. And I realized that while one part of me was proud that I'm like, we don't have any deals fall out. Now I look at that and I go, no, that's if I'm the solopreneur, that's totally fine. But I need my business to be able to take risks.
But I want to point out to everybody watching, we had 780 people on here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. We're somewhere around 700 now, but about 30 minutes ago, we had about 780 people, which is great. So guys, thank you so much. I am looking in the side chat. Good to see everybody. Jammer, Joel, Melissa Smith. Good to see you. Like even Melissa Smith, I was on a Zoom with her one day. It was her first sub 2 flip. And I was on a Zoom with her, and these Zooms are so fun to be on because I get to fund all these deals. Melissa's like, I need 80 grand. I go, great. I'll give you 80 grand. I wasn't involved in any of that. I even forgot that we even gave her $80,000 bucks. Mm-hmm. And then Molly, like, I don't know, 8 months later, she goes, okay, so the money coming in this week is this. So I was like, 80 grand from Melissa Smith. What's that for? You don't remember 8 months ago you loaned her money? Oh yeah, I remember. Good to see you, Melissa Smith. Good to see you, Kyle. Karina, good to see everybody in here. Tori, hi, Tori. King Lex, thank you guys so much. You guys are making great comments. I appreciate you guys so much. Deidre says, this is a great conversation. Sam Singh, straight up epic episode, he says.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Jessa, good to see you. Love Melissa. Chino, you just won a spot to community camp, so thank you guys for coming. I am looking at the chat, guys, so keep it up. I appreciate it. I'm just wanting to extract these great conversations.
What do you think about this, by the way? Is this good from your standpoint? Does this work for reading the chat?
Yeah, it does. Especially with this current angle, it works great. Yeah, it's awesome.
And now I'm seeing that 700 something people, and I'm wearing a pink knee brace.
Oh, they don't care. They're just looking at the wiener dog you got in your lap.
Yeah.
So on the couple of things I want to highlight, because it seems like the way we're talking, it seems like, oh my gosh, there's all these failures. These are the failures everybody says you have to fail, right? You have to fail forward. I hate ambiguity. And when people are like, they're on stage, they're speaking, oh, go get it, synergy, guys, you gotta take action, you gotta mess up, you gotta fail. It's like, can you tell me what that literally means? I'm such a black and white guy in that perspective. Like, I need to see the blueprint. What we're giving you and what Jeremy's talking about in his business, guys, is him accumulating experiences through thousands of successes, but every one of those successes was coupled with a failure.
Yep.
And one of the failures, which is so ironic in what you're describing right now, is I'm failing right now because all of my transactions are going through escrow.
Yeah.
That is a triumph that, let's say 3 years ago, you would have said, what? I'm going to be bragging about that one day? Oh my gosh, please, God, please let me get to that point. But you got to that point, and you got to the plateau, and you had a different viewpoint. You had a different vantage point. And now you can see what that actually means in your business. And now you have the amazing opportunity of saying, now how do I get to the next plateau? And in your mind, you're saying, in order to get to the next plateau, I probably am ready. You weren't too controlling. You are just now ready to release some of the control.
Absolutely correct. I know how to get to 7 figures.
Yes.
I've done it. I am learning how to get to 7 figures when I have nothing to do with it.
There you go.
And that's the stage that I'm in right now.
Boom.
You can never
big
get
difference.
10 out of 10 deals. Like, you could do that by yourself. You can control 10 out of 10 deals and make them all go through, but you have to accept that there's going to come a point that your team will never be as successful as you are controlling those deals. So I want to get to 3 to 4 deals fallout. I want to get to that point. And so, yeah.
But you also then have to have it coupled with a goal of your own of like, I'm going to bring something else to the table. Now, here's what I did with Cody. Okay. And Cody and I have had, he's one of the most mature kids I've ever met. He's 13 years younger than me. Right. And I met him when he was 24.
Alex is 12 years younger than me.
Okay. So similar story.
We're dating young.
So there's a lot of growing up to do. Like, he's not married. Now, he's been with Hayel. Hayel's great. She also does wholesale. I just bought a wholesale deal, a wholesale sub-2 deal from her. I bought probably 6 or 7 deals from her last year. She's great. So she, him and her are going to be like Jay-Z and Beyonce in the wholesale world, which is awesome. But he's not married. So what does that tell you? He's lacking life experience. He doesn't have kids, lacking life experience, right? He hasn't gone through 13 years of hell like I have in other businesses and other sectors like you and I have life experience. So what Alex is lacking right now is a lot of stuff that you have to be very patient for. However, here's the conversation I had with Cody. I said, I'm really good at bird dogging opportunities. I'm going to go find a business for us to buy, a business for us to create, some opportunity for us to have. And I'm going to bring that to you like the good boy, little, golden retriever that I am. And you're going to either say yes, or you're going to say no. Not maybe, hold on, 3 months, Pace, bring it back to me in 3 months. And if you do say no, I'm going to take that opportunity to a different partner of mine, and I will go make money with that partner. I will not turn around and say no or yes to the opportunity. I've already said yes to the opportunity by the time I bring it to you. So if you say no to the opportunity, guess what? You're saying that no to me. I'm not saying no to the opportunity. I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm going to take it to another one of my partners. Are we okay with that? Cody did not like that for the first year. Now he loves it because he says what you say. We don't do that. That doesn't fit our buy box. That's Pace. Go do that with Josiah. Go do that with Molly. Go do that with Ted. Go do that with John. Go do that with the other partners that you have. And so Cody is one of my top choices because I love doing stuff with Cody. He's great, but I don't own everything with Cody. Right. And I feel like there's going to come a point in the next 24 months or less, maybe 12 months, where you probably have to have that conversation with Alex and go, I probably am going to run into some opportunities that you won't be ready for. So either A, I need you to get ready, go to some of your own masterminds for operators. Don't come to visionary masterminds.
Yep.
And B, start reading books all about what integrate. He should be DMing Cody and going, what books are you reading? What videos are you watching? Because those are not the same videos you and I want to watch.
Yep, exactly right.
And you're probably in the next 18 months going to have another integrated partner. Otherwise, Alex, it's either or. Alex is going to have to surge in his skill set and his ability to delegate, or you're going to have to go and create another partnership.
Yep.
Is that going to be a problem for you and Alex?
It's not gonna be a problem for us because I know that if it does happen,
it will happen.
Well, no. When it happens,
yeah,
that I think both him and I are going to realize that is the truth, that needs to happen in the way that it does. But I'm going to do my damned hardest into getting him to rise as I rise.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to jump ship. I'm extremely loyal for that reason. But no, here's right now is that even if I were to bring him multiple opportunities right now, I'm not even in the position to, I mean, sure, I can go out and have conversations at every party I can and be like, I'm going to buy your business. But is that really, am I ready for that?
Yes.
Have I built the infrastructure to be able to handle that?
You're not the one that's meant to build the infrastructure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So like, for example, right now, business comes to me right now. I have a business right now that I just acquired. This is not an acquisition. This is a creation of a business. Okay. It's a $1 billion business, and not in the sense of like, I've heard other people thousands of times tell me, Pace, I got $1 billion idea. This is 100% without a doubt, a $1 billion business that I will create in the next 7 to 10 years. Okay. It's massive. And I'm sitting on the fence right now. I was about to text Cody this morning about it and go, hey, let's get on a phone call. I got something. I got something for Cody once a week usually.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's get on a phone call. What are your thoughts on this? It's a new idea, new thing that, and by the way, I'm not bringing like a shoe company to my pizza company. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to sell sneakers to the people that are buying pizza from me. Like I'm selling sneakers, and next door I'm opening a shoelace company. Right. Like everything is empowering other things. And I'm sitting there this morning going, oh, I'm going to wait a couple of days. I don't know that Cody's quite ready for this. I just put 2 new businesses in his lap. One's doing 5 million. The other one's doing 6 million. I don't know that he'll be able to handle this other one, but you know what? I'm going to bring it to him because I love doing business with him. And I'd rather him say no to me than me just go to my other partners.
Yep.
So he's going to have to say no to me in order for my other partners to get the opportunity to it. But these are the things that are going to happen. I don't go to a business going, all right, got a new business. Let's create operations.
Right.
No, I go to people who already have. So think about this. You need to find an operator, Jeremy, that is already operating 2 or 3 other businesses that you can go to and say, let's leverage your shared resources, your infrastructure, your credit balance sheet for getting lines of credit. I've got a new property management company, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring this property management company to you as an opportunity. You're not having to create anything. You're just leveraging existing resources.
Very true.
So that's where I have been for the last 2 or 3 years. Probably 3 or 4 years, where I just go, here's what you have. Buying, it could be for the most random things. Like I went to Cody 3.5 years ago. I go, I'm ready to buy outside of the state. Cody, what is Cody? You've heard this answer before. I've explained this to you. What was his answer?
No.
He says no.
Yep.
So now I went out and bought 1,500 doors outside of the state of Arizona, and he's not a party to any of those 1,500. You know how many times he's been upset about that? 0.
Not even once.
Not even, I mean, he's never said it to me.
Okay.
And he's treated me like a brother. We text each other all the time, say, hey, love you. I hope you're having a good time in Iceland. And I don't know if he's in Iceland or Greenland or wherever he's at. But we just say, I love you. And I just go on and I buy my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I do my thing. So I look at you and I'm like, dude, you're dynamic. You're personable. You should be in these rooms talking to all these people and going, what do you got going on? And then immediately thinking in your mind, who is going to handle this business idea, this opportunity, this buyout, this whatever that I just leveraged, and who are you going to take it to? Right now, if you took it to Alex, what is Alex missing right now that he would have to currently say no to everything you brought to him today, right?
Right.
So what is he missing?
He's missing. We're both missing the word delegate. We both
yes. Well, you're only missing the word delegate to Alex.
Right.
Alex is missing the word delegate to everybody else. So who's your next hire then? An assistant?
Yeah, an assistant for me at least.
And what would that assistant do for you right now?
The assistant would probably be handling like right now we're doing LLC formation. We're doing all this, little tedious stuff that anybody with half a brain could easily handle themselves. So things like that, where when Alex is dealing with the marketing team, dealing with all the VAs, all that stuff, I can't go to him and be, hey, handle all the LLC formation, handle this, handle the bookkeeping, handle the tax. I could do that, but then that's going to take away from our marketing and from our acquisitions.
Yeah.
So what I think, you brought, there's a girl that at the meetup that we did the other day that she was, she was a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Super integrator, incredibly bubbly woman. And she's just like, I'm direct to seller integrator. I'm a direct to seller integrator. And I'm like, oh my God, I love your energy. And I said to her, I go, what's really funny is that there is a position that we're slowly trying to build right now, which would be getting Alex out of handling the marketing portion of the company and having someone who is a direct to seller integrator be able to come into that seat. Now, I'm not sure if she's the right one at all, but I'm going to have a conversation with her.
Dude, you shouldn't just have a conversation with her. You should tell her straight up, can I just practice failing delegating to you?
Okay.
That's the conversation. Because the truth is, you know how many employees I screwed over in my lifetime? A lot.
Right.
Because, and this is, I've talked about this in front of you, so you know where I'm going with this, but I didn't intentionally screw over employees. I thought I was ready to lead them. I then hired them for positions, and in their positions that they were failing at, and they ultimately got fired, and I blamed them for it. It wasn't until 2-3 years later that I look back and go, oh my gosh, I hired you for the wrong position, A. B, I wasn't a good leader. C, nobody was delegating or giving you vision every single day or telling you what you were supposed to be doing. We just expected you to read our minds. I failed you. Oh my gosh, I should have fired myself, right? But unfortunately, I had to go through that and learn that by going through the crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was ready to actually lead somebody. So if I were you, I wouldn't just have a conversation. I'd say, are you up for like letting us screw up for 2 hours a day for 30 days?
Yeah. By the way, if that woman is in the chat, say yes.
Yeah, she's great. So just to give you guys context, Jeremy and Lisa Moore here in Utah put together an amazing meetup every third Thursday of the month, right?
We do. Well, that was for the RIA. That was actual Utah RIA. Where
okay, but for like your meetup for Sub 2 community plus other people, is third Thursday
at 3. We're trying to third.
Oh, I love
Thursday
that.
At 3.
Okay, cool. So you guys put this meetup together. Jerry and I speak at. You guys did such a great job. Unbelievable. He had a barbecue. It was great. And I had a girl come up to me and she says, Pace, I'm trying to figure out my avatar. And I called her really conservative. Like I could just see how she was dressed.
Okay.
Like
every Mormon girl.
Well, but she turned out not to be. She is conservative to the point where she's conservative from a standpoint of I'd rather be an integrator than a visionary. And I could just tell it by the way she was dressed that she was an integrator. So she's telling, I go, what do you think your avatar is? She says, I think I'm A, B, C, and I go, no, you're B. I write on B. I said, nope, you're B. She's like, how can you tell? I go, the way you do your hair, the way you're dressed. I mean, you can do this too by being in the restaurant business. You can just identify somebody really quickly. So I identified her and she goes, okay, well, how would I be a direct to seller integrator? I go, Jeremy Davis. It's the #1 problem in his business right now. And instead of him getting stuck in that space like I was for 4 years, he needs to get out of that space in 4 months. And I then put you guys together and you guys had a good conversation, right?
Yeah, very good conversation.
Where did it lead off?
I got her information. She messaged me. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to Alex and say, Alex, we're going to have a meeting.
Yes.
So literally it's funny that that's not my job. I have been hounding Alex for the past, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks since we got back from the mastermind. I've literally been saying to Alex, we are going to be hiring people. We're going to be spending money. We're going to be taking risks. The money we have in our bank account right now is not to buy more deals. It's to hire and spend money to build our company.
Yes. So, and that's the fun thing is like, I look at all these, I was on the phone call today. Right when you were cooking dinner, I stepped outside and I'm on a phone call with Brian Norton and Jerry Norton. And we're talking about Tim Ballard and some things going on with the movie and And I'm sitting here listening to all these guys going out and trying to accomplish more they're already all worth $100 million each. Right. So I'm sitting here going, I can't believe I'm on a phone call talking about accomplishing these really high level things and not one conversation about money came up in the conversation.
Speaking of money real quick, how much money did you raise on auctioning off the
we raised 31 grand today. That was pretty cool.
31 grand.
That was fun, dude. She did a great job.
Was that Sub 2 only?
That was Sub 2 and Astro and a couple of like Abraham, and it was just our
no. I mean the Zoom. Was that sub 2
Yeah,
only?
yeah.
So I will talk. I just want to say this real quick. So there was a sub 2 Zoom that Pace did just before this one, before dinner, and put up a couple of seats for auction for the what is it called? The
community camp.
Yeah. Yep. And we had a girl that's in my location. She's Utah, Nevada. She's up in Reno, who is a professional auctioneer. And if you guys were there, it was such an amazing thing what Amy did. It was literally, she's a professional auctioneer going, I got 300, 300, 500, 600. It was amazing. And $32,000 was raised.
Yeah. She raised 32 grand. Jerry and I had a goal 2 weeks ago. He goes, hey, I'd like to raise some money for the human trafficking for the, the children. And I go, we could probably raise 10 grand. It's 31 grand in like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's super good.
So congratulations to everybody that was part of that. It was really cool. So you had a conversation with her, and what specifically, obviously it's all about upfront contracts.
Right.
So you're going to upfront contract her and you're going to say,
I'm going to mess up.
This is what I wish I knew.
Right.
I wish I knew in the very beginning. I would have just gone to people and said, I'm not ready to hire. And I want you to practice to see if this business is a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, let's part ways as friends. But I need you to be okay with me screwing up and not being a great leader. I'm going to be reading John Maxwell books. I'm going to be reading all the things. I promise you I'm going to screw up. And again, back to this phone call with Jerry and his brother, Brian, I'm sitting here listening and realizing over and over and over and over again that as business owners, we're not trying to make more money. There's a point where, yes, you get over that hump, but then at some point it's all about the accomplishment and the ability to grow yourself. So like right now, you're in this awesome phase of I get to grow myself and delegate, and I get to get released from the chains that I've created for myself. Because what you've done is we all did this. We left the chains that were given to us and we replaced them with the chains that we made for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in the phase now where you need to break the chains off and become free, but you're so uncomfortable without the chains on you that right now you're like, the chains are no longer attached to your wrists. You're just holding on to them with your hands. The chains are not on you.
Right.
You are holding the chains. And if you can let go of that, dude, you'll freaking soar. And it'll stop becoming about money. I'd say within 12, maybe 14 to 18 months, somewhere in there, it'll stop becoming about money. It will become all about the accomplishment and the journey that you're on of self-discovery of like, what's the next thing Jeremy Davis has got to work on?
Yeah. I'm excited. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like to me when I was going, like just finishing puberty, and it was before I had ever kissed a girl, but I knew that I was going to enjoy it. I knew I was, but I also was terrified because I knew I was going to screw it up really, really badly.
Yeah.
And you screwed up. The first kiss is never amazing. You're licking their face and you're doing all weird shit. But
I don't know that it ever changes the licking the face part.
Right. But eventually you get over that hump and you get over that hurdle and you realize like you have grown into something different. You've matured, and I can tell you right now that I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff right now and I see the goal. I know what I have to achieve. I have to, as you said, the first word, gamble. I have to gamble with my money. I have to gamble with my decisions. And I know that I may make some big mistakes, but I also know that every successful choice that I make is going to help like slingshot my business forward. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. And again, I think entrepreneurship is just a journey of self-discovery. That's all it is. And like, it's why you pull out these things, whether it's at the mastermind or it's even hanging out behind closed doors or it's on a podcast or whatever it is. You want to identify your problem as quickly as possible because then you can go, okay, I've discovered that. Now I've got to figure out how to adapt that. I think the next scariest thing is like, wait, I didn't already have that skill. And admitting that you didn't already have that skill is a hard thing for a lot of people to have an ego. Men have an ego.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I didn't know this. Somebody had to teach me this. I didn't know how to do this. Somebody I hired had to show me I didn't know this. I lost them and I lost 6 months of my life not realizing it. It's hard. And the faster you admit that was a big problem for me probably 6 years ago. I would not admit that I was at fault 99% of the time. I would be like, oh, it was the guy that filed bankruptcy on me, or it was this guy. It was that guy. It was this guy. It was that guy. And then you get down to, you're like, nobody's coming to save you, dude.
Yeah.
You are. And so it's cool that you get to be in this phase. Sometimes I'm jealous because you are going through the phases faster than I did, which, that's what you want for your friends. But I'm also somewhat jealous that you're in these phases because I remember the elation that you feel after you get through the next one, right? Like your deal in Gary, Indiana, $2,200 to $6,600, $4,400.
Right.
But proof of concept stapled to that was $1 billion thing.
Yeah.
It was everything.
Everything.
You take Jeremy Davis, you put him anywhere in the country right now, naked. Jeremy Davis would figure out how to clothe themselves and get a deal by the end of the day.
Yep.
Jeremy Davis 5 years ago would be like, I'm naked.
Let me overthink this. Like 2 weeks straight.
Right. So it's like, what's funny is that isn't that you've already become successful. If you've already become a completely different person and you have the superpower of no matter where you are in the country, you can adapt and you can go make 7 figures in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's people are in their bedrooms right now praying for that skill set. And you, like any other good entrepreneur, like, I'm not good enough. Haven't done enough. I'm just starting. If I could only do this, then these good things will happen to me.
Right.
But that, sadly, that is one of those skill sets that we need as people who accomplish big things, is the feeling of that we never accomplished anything.
I'll say this, the entrepreneurial roller coaster is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's these phases that I go through, these emotional phases of like happiness and depression. And the depression is where I'm not happy where I'm at right now. But then I get happiness realizing you've been at this for,
9 years.
In 2012, did Laura show you the screenshot that I sent her of your first post on Bigger Pockets?
Oh yeah. You've sent it to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 2012,
I was a contractor. Yeah.
I'm a contractor. Wants to be an investor.
That was 11 years ago. Yeah.
So
my journey in real estate started 9 years ago.
Okay. So
it was 2 years after that post.
Got it. So nine years, and I've been at this for almost 3.
Yeah.
So I get depressed when I think about like how I wish that I wasn't stressed out about money on this month or something like that. Like I get depressed because I go, I wish that I was more successful. But then I take a step aside and I go, wait a minute, I've only been doing this for about 3 years. And then I go, I'm happy where I'm at right now, because I also know that in another 6 years, where am I going to be then? Then I get super excited. But it's this roller coaster, because in every part of this business, it's not always about wins. There's always going to be wins and there's going to be losses. And then there's going to be like an exciting deal that is going to close. And then the last minute at the table just falls apart. And then you get depressed again. Like it's just this up and down. But for me, I always try to remind myself that, again, the comparison is the thief of all joy. I try my hardest not to compare myself to you or to anybody else out there, but it still is a hard thing to fight.
I hope you guys all compare yourself to me, because you guys will all have a faster, if you really look at my journey, it was 7 years of wanting to get started in real estate, but I just stayed in construction because I felt like I was keeping busy. Mental masturbation, as we call it in the business, of like, you're thinking about it, you're listening to it, you're reading about it. So I feel like I'm doing it. I wasted 7 years of my professional life just pretending like I was doing something.
Right.
Before I started my 9-year journey. Right. And then my 9-year journey started. And even during that 9 years, I still couldn't let go of construction. I couldn't let go of construction. I had to hold on to my wholesale and my creative business for like 3.5 more years. I had to hold on to it before I finally was like, I'm getting rid of this, because I still believed in other people more than I believed in myself. So I would go spend all my time in my construction business, investing my time and energy into what I would tell myself was my own business. But really what it was other people's business I was doing my renovations for. Right. So I hope you guys are comparing yourself to me, because you'll realize, wow, I did this twice as fast as Pace did. And we think Pace is the cool guy.
Right.
It's like, good, you're doing it twice. How about the Grant Cardone episode that I just did with him?
Which one?
The one where I was in his office a couple months
Blowing his mind?
Yeah. And what I wanted all the sub 2 students to walk away from that interview thinking is like, that guy's worth $1.4 billion. And I know more about how deeds and title and sub 2 seller finance work than a 1.4 billion net worth guy. So what does that tell you? Overthinking ain't getting you there.
Right.
Knowing all the answers ain't getting you there. Making as many mistakes as you possibly can is the path to get there.
Yep.
Which is what you've done a great job of. And you've got a good partner. I hope you, I don't hope, I know you guys will figure this out, but I can't wait until the day that you go, Alex and I have a good rhythm.
Yep.
And Alex knows his place on the bus. If I were Alex, I would be spending a lot more time learning from Cody.
It's a good point.
Reaching out to Cody. What are you working on? What are you doing? Have him jump into some Zooms with Cody Cody's in these meetings with like other businesses we own now and our CFO and all that kind of stuff. And you'll go, oh my gosh. It's kind of like when you see what Pace does as a visionary and you go, I need to be there in 24 months, right? He's going and buying businesses. He's going and raising money for a fund. He's going and doing these other things. You go, oh crap, I got to reverse engineer. I got to get that done in 18 months. So you start reverse engineering. Alex, imagine what he could reverse engineer if he was on a Zoom with Cody a lot more.
I remember I was a fly on the wall for Cody Hoffine for one of his team meetings. And I was like, wow, like this. And they had the EOS implementer. They had all that kind of stuff. And that was like my first like glimpse into being like, this is a real business. Like, this is what I have to hit. So no, you're absolutely right. I would, if you can help facilitate him, Alex, to be a fly on the wall, I would love that. Cody
is spending more time right now trying to build out an integrator, like little community inside of our community.
Okay.
Because he sees sub 2, usually the community is going to be mostly probably 90% or more visionaries are attracted to it. But he's like, I'm going to show integrators how I do what I do, what I do. Cody, even 3 years ago, was like, didn't understand his job as well as he does today. Obviously he knew his lane, but he didn't know every little crack and every little crevice in that lane until today.
Right.
And obviously that will even duplicate in 3 years from now, where he'll go, oh my gosh, I thought I knew in 2023, but now I know in 2026. Right. But I can tell you the answer is never less. It's always more. Right. So a lot of times you're in these phases of like, we got to do less so we can focus. I disagree with that. I think you need to delegate. I think you need to delegate so that you can go, all right, I'm free. And there's a lot of things you should just never do. I see a lot of people go, I'm going to go get these things fixed in myself. And then I'm going to do the things I'm supposed to do. But the reality is all the things that you don't like about yourself right now is because you are putting a square peg in a round hole. You should not be shaving down the square peg to be a round peg. You should just go and put the square peg in a square hole.
Right.
Right. And so, the visionary tendencies and what you are good at is going out and becoming friends with people. Why are you not just doing that more, but then having the freedom to know my partner can handle another opportunity if I brought it to him?
Yep.
Right now, the answer is my partner can't handle it because your partner probably just needs a little bit of coaching.
Yeah. He just doesn't know how.
Yeah.
I know he is fully capable. It's just that he and I are both learning. And I'm excited for when for him, he learns it, whether it be from a book, whether it be from a mentorship or a coach. But when the time comes, I know that he is fully capable of handling whatever I throw at him.
Yeah, it's interesting that people are, by the way, a lot of great comments tonight. People are just saying this is amazing gems. This has been a great, great episode. So thank you for coming in here and hanging out. Everybody here. Okay. By the way, if you guys are ever watching Get Creative, go watch Get Creative on my YouTube channel. There's people that are like, oh, there's only 400 people watching. Guys, go to the YouTube channel. Okay. Same thing with Wholesale Hotline tomorrow night. Just go to Pace's YouTube channel. Okay. Watch it on the YouTube channel. That's where most of the people hang out, is on my YouTube channel. Okay. Do you know anybody that's worth $10 million that hasn't figured out how to delegate?
No. Inheritance, but no.
Yeah, and I don't know anybody that has inherited that kind of money. Maybe you do. You lived in LA, so you probably knew a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you already know that that's not a thing, then just jump over that little crevasse.
Over the cliff.
Is it spending the money? Or is it knowing that you're going to screw up and trying to avoid the feeling of, oh my gosh, I screwed up and I have to fire somebody now?
I don't think it's necessarily the fear of firing. We've fired a lot of people. We've hired a lot of people, and we realize the mistakes we make pretty quickly, and then we put the onus on ourselves. I think that money is probably something that's holding us back right now, where I was talking to a guy about hiring people, and he's like, well, why don't you just hire a recruiter for like $60,000 a year? And I said,
for your size of company, I would say no.
Right. But I look at it now and I go, but if that $60,000 a year can help free up my time and not interviewing and hiring people and finding the right people, that $60,000 is going to make itself back in 1 or 2 deals.
Yes. But I think that that's jumping the gun.
Maybe so. I'm not hiring a recruiter for $60,000 a year.
I could see the justification for that, but I would say that would be like maybe 18 months down the road, I would get we now have a full-time recruiter, which is great. But when did I get that person? 8 months ago.
Right. This is do you know Rob Vasquez?
Yeah.
This is Rob Vasquez. I'm not at his level. He's got like 42 different businesses. Like, no, for sure. He needs a recruiter. I get it.
Yeah.
But like for me, hire an assistant. Just pay $3,000, $4,000 a month. That's easily doable.
I think if you found an assistant, here's the other thing too about assistants. How much do you think Grant Cardone's assistant makes?
Oof.
I know her personally.
He's got multiple, I assume.
He has one dedicated to him.
Okay. 200,000?
220.
220. Okay.
She makes 220. How much did Robert Kiyosaki's assistant make? 170.
Okay.
What does your assistant have to do? And what does your assistant bring in terms of value in order to justify a $220,000 position? We're not going to figure that out on this podcast.
No, we're not.
Okay. I know part of the answer. I've become friends with them. I know Annie really well. Annie actually broke down her salary and how she makes money at a mastermind we were in. And it was really cool watching Grant's assistant break down her income to a very small group of 20 people. And I immediately was like, all right, because I've lived my life. Have you ever known I didn't have an assistant up until maybe 9 months ago? I've never had an assistant up until 9 months ago.
Okay.
But the way I structured my life was different. I was like, I have too many things going on. And I don't think an assistant's going to help me. I think what I need is a lot higher level person. So I've always had Melissa, Saravi, Aria, Heidi, Allison, Molly, Carly, Kelly, Giselle. And I'm probably missing a couple of others, so I apologize if I am. But it's 13 girls that I rely on. And they all run individual parts of my businesses, or some of them run actual businesses of mine. So I have 13 people I rely on. Again, when I was at Starbucks this morning, I was like, that's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. And I replied to 2 out of 85 emails with an actual answer, right? So I didn't have an assistant until I saw what a high-level assistant could bring to a business, and somebody showed me, because I'm stupid like you.
Yep.
Me and you are like very similar. Like, show me. Well, show me.
Show me.
I want to see it. So they reverse engineer. So I hire an assistant, and I really like that. The first assistant I hired, but she just couldn't keep up with me. So I hired another assistant who she's with me right now. And I told her, I go, if you aren't making 100 to 150 grand a year working for me within the next 12 months, you and I did something wrong. You need to bring so much more value to me than a $50,000 position.
Right.
I can't hang out. My assistant needs to be ambitious, because if I have to talk to you once or twice a week and you're not ambitious and I'm having to dumb myself down to a non-ambitious person, I will lose my mind. And she's very ambitious, so I'm lucky. But I would say $5,000 a month person is going to be somebody who has the mental capacity to go, Jeremy, in 12 to 14 months, I want to make 100 grand a year. I can't justify that right now. I need you to do X, Y, and Z in order for your business to get here, so I can justify my $8,000 a month salary. And then by month 3, I want to be at 150 grand a year. And I don't want to be called your assistant anymore. I want to be called your right hand or your executive assistant. And I want to be at 150.
Right.
You need that girl.
I need to know what that even looks like. Just you said yourself, until you learn what a real assistant's supposed to do. Like, I remember like when I first joined Sub 2, I was like, what is a lead manager supposed to say? Like, until you learn firsthand about what they're supposed to do. So no, I mean, I'll say right now, if any of you guys are in the chat, any of you guys are assistants or you've worked with high-level assistants and you want to send me a message, I would love to learn what I should look for from an assistant.
So this is what I'm doing. I have a girl, and you know about the family mastermind?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in the family mastermind. I never go to it, but I'm in it, and I'm speaking at it this year, so I am going to go. And I was talking to a girl in there that her whole business is teaching executives. She's coaching executives. So I call her up last week and I go, "Hey, will you do a program for teaching assistants how to be high-level executive assistants and show them how to elevate to a chief of staff?" A chief of staff is like a big deal.
Yeah.
You know? So she goes, "Oh my gosh, why has nobody in the industry done that?" I go, "'Cause you and I haven't collaborated yet." She's like, "Well, what does this do for you?" I go, "Every one of my mastermind students could use this." Like, she goes, "Well, how do you envision this?" I go, I'll pay you to train May, my current assistant, how to become a chief of staff in the next 24 months. And I'll pay you for modules, training, whatever we got to do. And then I'm just going to give it away to all my mastermind students. What do you do for Pace now? Well, what does Pace need? And ask the questions. And then basically it's like a series of videos and a series of workbooks of like who you started out as. Here's all the crap that needed to be cleared out. Here's all the de-rusting that needed to be de-rusted. Now here's what the position should have been when you were hired, but they weren't ready for you. And now where does that position need to go? And then what books should you be reading? What classes should you be attending? Because that's the other thing with assistants too, is they sit there like, "Yep, I'm done with my work and I'm just going to go home."
Right.
That's an assistant. You don't want somebody who's just going to be an assistant. You want somebody that's going to be an assistant that ultimately becomes a chief of staff. That typically for me is a woman who's already had her children and is like, I'm back to my career and I'm ready to kick ass. So probably a 40-year-old woman that's like, I'm ready, Jeremy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Maybe 45.
45.
You know what I'm saying? So somewhere around there's a woman that's like, I got kids that are 18, 20 years old, and all my experience of babysitting children, I'm ready to babysit you, Jeremy. Because that's really what you and I needed.
Right.
Right?
It's a good analogy. I like
well,
that.
Yeah. Yeah, chief of staff, executive assistant, all the way to chief of staff. Yeah. I actually don't think it starts out as an executive assistant. I think it starts at a personal assistant that's $3,000, maybe $4,000 a month.
Lisa, you're 61. Are you offering?
Drew Warnock says, nah, I'm F that. I'm that woman. Let me in, coach. I will never hire a male for that job. Ever.
Right.
You need a babysitter.
Yeah.
And you need somebody that's like a Molly. That's like, get yourself out of my way. You are in my way. You need somebody that's telling you that you're in the way.
Would love that.
Yeah.
My God. Like right now, Katie, my wife, she started off her first position. She was our JV liaison, right? So she helped out all the JV relationships.
Bless her heart.
Yep. Then she became our TC, and then we had the baby. So she took a little bit of a step back on the TC, but now she's taking an active role in event coordinating, right? So we're doing all of our meetups and stuff like that. Also for like getting people on the podcast, like that's going to be her next role. Problem is that Katie, we have the dominant submissive role in the sense of she doesn't want to tell me to step out of my own way. And that's something I'm trying to work with her in getting to be better at saying like, Jeremy, let me handle it. Shut your mouth. But that's your Molly, right?
That's my Molly. Molly is here's Molly. I'll give you a good description where I knew Molly was a chief of staff, not an assistant. Because I hired Molly to be general manager of our wholesale operation 2 years ago. That was her original position. I was like, oh, you're better than that.
Right.
And which also reminds you who, not how. Hire the person that's going to be the person. Don't try and turn that person into the person that doesn't have the capacity to do it. It's one thing if they're missing the current skill set, but if they have the capacity, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But if you can't keep up with me, if your microprocessor is like, wait, hold on, I need to write that down. Ain't nobody writing things down around me. We're moving past this. I can't reiterate things 3 times. We got too many things to go.
Right.
You either are on the same page, you understand what we're doing, or you can't work here. Molly, I'm in the Bahamas. This is probably coming on 8-9 months ago. And I'm there for a week for a class that I was taking for my own personal stuff, trying to do personal development myself. And I go, Molly, we got to raise, I got to hurry and get home because I got to raise this $2 million. She didn't say, let me raise the $2 million. You know what she did? She got off the phone and just raised the $2 million. That's a badass.
That's pretty damn good.
I didn't say, hey, Molly, will you help me do it? She goes, there's a need here. And that's an opportunity for somebody like me to fill a need. Most assistants I've ever seen are like, just tell me exactly what to do. You don't need that.
Right.
You need
I don't
somebody
want
can.
that.
No, hell no. Hell no. Look at all these people are so happy that they came. Me too. I'm glad you guys came in here.
You know, out of every Zoom, like whenever I watch you interview somebody or talk about something, it's a lot of the times it's about a specific question. Maybe it's about something creative finance, something about, subject to. But this conversation right now, me personally, obviously, I'm really enjoying this because it's able to pick the brain of somebody that has done what I am attempting to do right now. And I have a feeling that in the chat, there's a lot of people that have done the deals. They've got the proof of concept. They're now looking for not only the ability to change their business, but also their mindset. So,
yeah. Well, think about this, okay? What is a tired landlord? Do you know what a tired landlord is?
Tell me. I mean, I know, but like the definition, but
a tired landlord is somebody who never learned how to delegate. Think about that.
That's a great point.
A distressed business owner, right? These people that I'm buying these businesses from, creative finance, they're willing to give me half their business for no money down. What are they? They are people who never learned how to delegate. That's literally it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They never went past one of the most challenging personal development things, which is getting humans to do what you don't want to do. And so you learn this one skill set. That's it. This guy I texted, right? This beef jerky company this morning I was talking about. I sent him a text. I go, we have systems and operations. I can take this business I can triple your business in 12 months. And what's funny is I don't even know one of the people that's going to do the work anymore. I'm not involved in that. Right. All I know is that I delegated that. Somebody that was the right person built that. And I have so much control that I have zero control. I control where the ship is going. I'm the front end of it. You can't control where the boat's going if you're looking behind you all the time.
Do you even have an inkling of an idea of, you get this beef jerky business, you pass this off to who do you pass it off?
Yeah, I know exactly what would happen.
So you pass it off. So what would that look like in general? You pass it off to that person. Mm-hmm. That person then learns how to market beef jerky.
It's not just marketing. It's marketing, sales, and fulfillment, right? Okay. Marketing, sales, fulfillment. So the number one thing that would happen is that it would go to my CFO.
Okay.
For a long time, we had a guy that was a fractional CFO. This was another thing that nobody taught. Nobody teaches you this stuff in high school or college or anywhere. What is a fractional CFO? I don't know.
Right.
But we figured it. Somebody told us about it in a mastermind 5 years ago.
I interviewed a couple.
They're great.
I didn't pull it off though, but yeah.
You're assistant first, then CFO, fractional CFO.
Yeah.
The fractional CFO is a strategic financial operator, meaning they're going out and landing relationships with banks and they're getting lines of credit. And then they're the ones that are underwriting and looking at the business. And then they go and compare it to other businesses in that sector and go, this is where they're winning. And this is where we're losing. And this is what we could do financially to blah, 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 blah. Also, they're the ones that allocate capital properly. So they go, like, for example, between my business, a couple of my businesses with Cody, last month, we netted $1.3 million last month.
Okay.
And I was like, that's an anomaly. That's way higher than normal. And he goes, no, it's not an anomaly. You had this, and this, and this is where that came from. And this would happen. And 4 years ago on this June, 4 years ago, we had the same anomaly and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, clarity.
Right.
I have clarity. I know what the hell is going on. Thank you so much. So the first step would be, you take the beef jerky company, you hand all the financials over to Ben, my CFO.
Okay.
At the time, we've only had Ben for 1.5 years, but guess where Ben came from? The same conversation I was having to you with Alex, which was my job was to delegate to Cody and say, you need more help or else I have to take these business opportunities somewhere else. And Cody's like, what do you think I should be doing? I'm like, hire a CFO. And Cody had to go through the process of, holy crap, I have to hire a CFO as a 26 or 27-year-old. And I said, bro, That's the one skill that these tired landlords and these tired business owners don't have, right? This is the moment where 91% of the people stop growing. So if we can just be in that 9% and learn that one skill, we dominate the other 91%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Cody goes, all right, we hire a fractional CFO. So in this beef jerky company, I would take that. It goes to our CFO. CFO goes through and says, here's the 85 things that are wrong. Your information's all incorrect. Okay. Your sales guys are not doing as well as they say they're doing. And within maybe 2-3 days, we'd have a whole financial model of what's really going on, not what the business owner told us was going on. And then what we would need to do to hit a valuation of $25 million and sell the business in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We then reverse engineer that with human capital and go, who would have to go do the work? And then we figure we just reverse engineer. So one thing that I had to hire last year that nobody's met yet, but I have a COO that Cody and I have. Do you know who that person is?
I do not.
We haven't introduced them to anybody yet.
Okay.
They're going to get introduced probably within 30 days.
I was going to say, is this the moment? No.
This is no. The moment's going to happen inside of Sub 2 in about 30 days. This COO,
was he at the mastermind actually?
He was.
Okay.
He works at Lennar Homes, which is the largest home builder in the nation. So he flew out. We spent a couple of days with him. So what he'll then do is take all the financial stuff that Ben found out, come to me, we'll sit down and go, this is what I think here, marketing wise, blah, 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 brand wise, allegiance here, da, 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 da. Let's connect with these things. And then the COO goes, got it, got my marching orders. And then 2 weeks later, he goes, all right, we have 3 new employees and they're going out and they're selling beef jerky. And I won't have to be involved in any of it ever again.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the formula.
That's the formula.
Okay.
The one that we just bought a couple of weeks ago, I've told the story inside of Sub 2, but not like the company name because that'll get released in the Sub 2 business buying stuff. But I identified the opportunity, which is where you should be. I identified the opportunity. I found the bunnies. I had a Zoom with the business owner. What's going on? How can I help? Where does this make sense for us? How much are you doing yearly? What do you need in your business? What does it look like? Would you be okay with a 50-50 partnership if I came into your business you've been running for 9 years without a partner? Yes, I need help with this, and this. And what do you think his biggest problem was?
I would say branding and marketing.
Delegating.
Oh, delegating.
Delegating. 9 years later, you know who his bookkeeper was? Was the first bookkeeper ever hired. The guy down the street that was his brother's cousin's cousin.
Right.
Same bookkeeper, even though he's doing $5 million a year and he has been in business 9 years, the bookkeeper is the same person. So he has a problem with human capital. It's like the biggest problem every human has. It's like they get to a certain point and they go, I can't grow anymore. I'm just going to figure out how to live beneath my means and convince myself that this is a worthy cause. That's the scariest shit I've gotten to a point of I've gotten past the get started phase. You're no longer in the get started phase.
No.
You've accomplished the hardest part, but you get up to like base camp at Mount Everest and you're like, crap, that was hard.
Right.
And you look up at Mount Everest and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go and surmount. Like, no, I'm good. Base camp was good. Let's have a party and then let's go back home. It's like, no, dude. So what happened with that business is I found the opportunity. I did a Zoom with him. I did a second Zoom with him. I then brought it to the appropriate business partner of mine, my operator, Cody. I brought this one to Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Ben got on the phone with him, my CFO, went through all the numbers and said, none of these numbers are correct. These are the actual numbers. I went through 5 years of his bank records in 2 days. Here's what it all looks like. The company is truly doing this much in sales. He has $200,000 a month of leakage. He's paying interest here, this, that, and the other. If we can reconsolidate these, bring a line of credit, we can turn our company or this company that's hemorrhaging $200,000 into a company that pays our company $70,000 a month in 2 months. But we need this, and this. Then it comes back to me from marketing and sales strategy. I go, all right, we need to do this, and this. I get on the phone with the business owner. I go, here's our presentation. And I'm the sales guy, so I have to sell him on it. So I sell him on it. He goes, done. Send me the paperwork. Guess what? I haven't been involved in 3 weeks. It's not my job.
Not your job.
I already did my job. And guess what my job is now?
Find the next opportunity.
Find the next opportunity. Network. Become friends with people. Fly around the country. do the things, go find new opportunities, go find people that want to invest in what our crusade is. Right. And so for you right now, you are doing important strategies for what you needed to do. But I think today's the day where you go, I got to take 4 hours a day, 4 hours off my plate immediately and say, that's not my job 4 times a day. And then tell Alex to say, that's not your job 4 times a day. And within 6 months, you'll go, I don't even recognize myself or my business. We've got so many more things going on. This is great. It's organized because we brought the tough thing that you got too. I did this in my business is that you brought your wife into your business because it's easy and because she's smart as hell and she cares. Who's going to care more about your business than your wife?
Nobody.
Yeah. So you brought your business in, but then you got her pregnant simultaneously. And now you got a pregnant wife who's doing all the important things. And she's like, I don't want to let my husband down. So she's doing anything she possibly can. But in the back of her mind, she's like, can he just hire somebody so I can just be a mama?
Yeah.
Is that where she's at right now, you think?
No. And the only reason I say that is because she loves to be involved. And that's
Is it because she loved being with her husband?
I think it's because she loved being with her husband. I think it also is she enjoys this business. She enjoys being part of it. But I see the struggle she deals with every single day is that she's a new mom. And, you know, like, and some moms it's just easy for them. They can literally put the baby on the hip and literally go, do construction work. Katie's not that person. She loves spending time with Roan. And so for her, she's having a struggle right now because I really do want her to just be a mom, but she also does want to be involved in the business. So when I said, hey, no more TC, she's like, okay, well then I want to do event coordinating. I'm like, okay, I'll let you do it. But it's a struggle because for her, it's like, is she going to take a nap when he takes a nap? Like, hey, I need a flyer to be printed. I need something like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's its own thing.
Yeah. I mean, you think it's its own thing, but it might be all intertwined. I mean, I guess it always is, but like even today, my wife, Monday was acting a fool. My little daughter was just going crazy. And I came back to the Airstream and my wife and Monday were taking a nap at noon. Right. And I went in there and I couldn't have been more happy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. The fact that she feels the freedom to take a nap, whereas other women would feel guilty of like, oh, great. He's out there hustling, do all this stuff. And I'm in here and taking a nap. It's like, no, I promise you, your job is 10 times harder than mine. Right. And you obviously know that just like I do. And I think the greatest gift a man could ever give is just saying, I will go do these things so that you can do the more important job, which is being the mom and not worry about any of these things. But I do think event coordination is probably a great fit for her to stay involved and have a pulse and be able to hang out with her husband as much as possible. But I think has she talked to you about hiring an assistant?
Yeah, we know it's happening.
Okay, it is happening.
We're getting an
we
assistant.
don't need Katie to come in here and yell at you and get you to hire.
No, Alex wants an assistant for me. We all do. It's really funny. Alex, back in the day, he said to me that I need to earn an assistant. Right. And I almost agree with him, meaning like we need to make more money.
No,
that was back before.
Yeah.
So we both thought that we needed to make more money before we could hire an assistant to take things off my plate. Then we realized that getting me out of the office is making us more money, keeping me in the office, keeping me doing the menial tasks. And so Alex now is like, no, Jeremy, we're going to find you a freaking assistant as soon as possible. And I'm excited for that because I know that like, I can't control everything in the business. It's time for me to start doing what the visionary needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
What a good episode.
Give me a timeline. When do I get an assistant?
Oh, bro, you'll have, I think what's going to happen is I think your real assistant is going to be here in less than 60 days.
Okay.
And I think that you're going to either hire the girl that was at the meetup the other night for 30 days so you can practice screwing up with her. Okay. And she can practice and see if this is even a good opportunity for her to be in this business in general, let alone you. Or B, you're going to hire somebody and you're going to hate them or they're going to hate you and you're going to fire them. And then the 60 days then you'll find somebody within 60 days.
Right. Okay.
If you find somebody on your first get-go, it's not the right person.
Right. For sure.
You should just tell everybody straight up, like, hey,
I'm going to fail.
This is a practice run.
Right.
This is great. Pace, I think you're on drugs. How are you always on the go?
Wait, my wife is chatting right now. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, she's been in here.
Oh,
yeah, she's been in here for the last little bit. She says, I do want to coordinate your events to spend time with you instead of you choosing
bars and pubs where Roan and I can't go. Yeah, that was a mistake that I was making, that I was holding our meetups at bars.
Yeah.
And so a child cannot go. So she was getting very left out. A lot of FOMO there.
Yeah, you guys, I heard at dinner tonight, I heard your guys' story of how you met. And I'm just like looking at both of you guys. I'm like, you guys are such a great couple.
Thank you.
And, I know how much you love your wife. You talk about her all the time. But like when I'm around Katie, she doesn't talk as much as you and I do. But when I watch her watch you and how she just wants to be around you, I can tell why she wants to still be involved in your business.
Love you, babe.
Jessa says, Pace doesn't sleep. He's an alien for sure. Do you remember hanging out with your friends when you're in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Or doing something you really enjoy, like maybe playing Warcraft?
Sure.
Okay. Did anybody have to tell you to keep going?
No.
No, you just naturally wanted in fact, you had to tell yourself to stop.
Right.
That's how this business is for you and I.
Yep.
People are like, how are you always working? Because I freaking love every minute of it. Same thing with you.
It's the hardest part was, I think, finding the balance in family life. Like when Rome was born 7 months ago, that was definitely a struggle. Like the market shifted, equity dropped in this market, like everything changed. And I was on stage, or not on stage. I was presenting in a mastermind, and I start tearing up that I'm like, I am so terrified to be my father. I'm so terrified to be a financial failure. But then when I look at the business and what we do, I love this. I love real estate. It doesn't have to be real estate. I love what we do, fixing problems, creating new opportunities. And I can tell you right now, the next thing that I'm going to enjoy is delegating. And I know I am. It's the next level Pokemon that I need to become.
For me, it was the analogy for me is always works best for Boy Scouts, Eagle Scout. In order to become an Eagle Scout, you have to have a certain amount of merit badges. And the hardest merit badge for me to overcome was personal finance, because you had to ask your parents to take you to the grocery store, and you had to track your family's household spending on groceries for 90 days as like a 14-year-old child. Your dad's like, that's none of your business, right? So that was a really, really challenging merit badge for me to obtain. But it's what kept me from my Eagle Scout.
I put that one off. I got to star, and then my family moved, so then I never joined another troop.
Yeah, this is similar to my story, but I finally got it because my parents are like, you can't go on a date with a girl until you get your Eagle Scout. So I'm like, there's no way that's not happening, right? So I finally got personal finance, and I was like, oh my gosh, the whole world opened up to me. So for you, your merit badge that you're missing is the word delegation.
Yeah. I love that.
That's your merit badge. Pace already got abducted by aliens. Yep, you're right. This has been such a valuable live. Thank you, Chris Luna. Appreciate that. Citizenship in the nation citizenship in the nation was a really hard merit badge for sure. Katie says, I love how much value everyone is getting from this. This has been a really great episode. Guys, give it up for Jeremy Davis. What's your YouTube channel?
At the Jeremy Davis.
At the Jeremy Davis on Instagram and on YouTube, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Katie, you can come over here and close us out if you want.
Yeah,
come in here for a second.
What I'm really happy about right now, Pace, is that you've literally popped this studio's cherry.
Yeah.
So I built the studio out. My podcast is just about to get up and running, but I was not going to ask you.
Name the podcast. That's not my job.
That's not my job. It's a good one.
Or what was the other? What was your buddy say? We don't do that.
We don't do that.
We don't do that. That's a good podcast name too. We don't do that. And you just interview people. You go, what are the things in your business you don't do that makes you successful?
Yeah.
What are the things that you're delegating? You guys could have so many cool guests telling you all the things like, oh yeah, the second I stopped doing this, this, and this, my business blew up. Imagine asking all these high-level 100 millionaires, billionaires, asking them those questions. They'd be like,
stop doing?
What did you stop doing? And what was the realization? What was the thing that pushed you over the edge to stop being like 97% of the population doesn't have the merit badge of delegation? What jumped you into that 3%? Do you ever hear that quote, that Jim Rohn quote? He says, you want to be like the 97%. Don't talk like the 97%. Don't hang out where they hang out. Don't do the things they do. Right.
I haven't heard that quote, but yeah, that's
it's a little bit longer. I won't tell you the whole thing, but it is truly the 97% of the people in the world will never learn how to delegate properly. You don't want, you ain't gonna be like that. No. In 60 days, you're gonna be like, I'm so good at this.
Come in here real quick. Come here.
Katie, come say hi to everybody. They want to see this hot blonde we've been talking about. This girl from Santa Clarita.
I love how you say it. Just Santa Clarita.
I think it's because I screw up and think it's going to be Santa Cruz. I'm going to screw up and say Santa Cruz, but it's Santa Clarita.
Santa Clarita.
That's river. That's by river. No, it's north of LA.
That's like, yeah, north of LA. It's like 99.9% white.
Really?
I mean, Valencia, the Santa Clarita diet's like literally like the white suburban family. That's where they live outside of Los Angeles.
It's hot up there though.
It gets hot, yeah.
It's like 100 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah, screw that.
Lots of fires and everything.
There we go. Everyone, this is my wife, Katie. Hi.
she was running the switcher board for us for a little bit, guys, until I was like, she's holding this baby and switching up the board. It is so impossible. We should do an interview with Katie talking about how hard it is to be the entrepreneur's wife and have to do all the things. You do so much more than anybody ever gives credit to.
You were going to do a podcast that I still want you to do. What were you going to call it?
Profit and Loss.
Profit and Love.
Profit and Love. Yeah.
I remember that.
We were going to do it. And then we got another baby, we got pregnant.
See, that I think would be such an incredible podcast where you and Laura sitting on one side and then another entrepreneurial couple sitting on the other side.
The inaugural podcast was going to be Uncle Lanza and us, and Uncle Lanza and his wife, Auntie Ann. They've been married for so long and been together so long that I was like, let's have you guys talk about the struggles and the ups and downs and all the things of being an entrepreneur. I don't know if you know this, but Uncle Lanza was like a big backpack manufacturer.
I knew he was manufacturing. I didn't know backpacks.
Yeah, he had the Lanza backpack. Anyway, we had the graphics, we had all the stuff, we were going to launch it, and then Laura goes, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like pregnancy derails everything.
Yes.
It derails, not for dudes. A couple little things for us, right? Like, we don't need to go into all that, but men our lives don't change too much, right? Women, it's like they basically sacrifice everything in their life to take care of this human being. And Laura's like, I will not be able to do this podcast consistently. So we had to kick it to the side for a while. I was like, I go, good. We won't do it for a while. We'll wait 4 or 5 years and then we'll actually know all the answers. It'll be great. Which we still won't. This has been a good episode. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Katie, you have to be the one that goes over there and clicks end broadcast in the upper right-hand corner, the big red button up in the upper right. Guys, thank you so much for coming in to Get Creative tonight. Go over to Jeremy Davis, the Jeremy Davis on Instagram and the Jeremy Davis on YouTube.
Love it.
Good job.
Thanks, brother.
Yes.